trade while you work or attend college. In return, you gain skills in which you can build a career and receive benefits that can help you pay for college. Learn more about what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Colorado National Guard. Aired by the Colorado Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com. Since 1922, KLZ Denver.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it.
Our Lady of Blessed Acceleration, don't fail me now.
It's time for Drive Radio, presented by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Whether you need help diagnosing a problem,
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Or just want to learn about all things automotive.
Hey, how exactly does a Positrack clear on a Plymouth work? It just does.
Then you've come to the right place. So start your engines, buckle up, and get ready to ride. Drive Radio starts now on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush, along with Ray Seidel from Four Seasons and Alan Stefan from Napa. Gates, actually, is where you're from.
Gates Rubber Company, Napa Belt and Hose. And I just wanted to say one thing. Good morning to you, John. As you're out there driving around, be careful of those motorcycles. They're everywhere today.
Yes, they are. Good point. And Alan is one of our own riders, and Alan brings up a great point. In fact, I didn't have that as a topic today, but we probably should. Yes, it's that time of season. Be aware. Not only that, lots of joggers, bicyclists, just more people out doing things recreationally speaking, and anymore that does not just mean, they're not just limited to the, neighborhood side roads. You see them everywhere. You don't see too many pedestrians and that out on the freeways, but you do see, I've even seen some slower speed, two-wheelers, et cetera, that are riding along. So, yeah, be very, very careful and be alert. And those of you that are on those, remember, even though you may have the right-of-way, you're not very big.
Look out for yourself. Yeah,
watch out.
Yeah, the kids are out of school too, so there's a lot of
stuff going on.
Run around. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, we should have talked about that a few weeks ago, and we just lots of stuff to talk about. And I was thinking about this on the way down. You never hear us really start off the show by saying we have a really great show for you today. Because my feeling is if we didn't really have a great show for you, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
so we have great shows every week. So you never hear me just come right on air and say, you know what, we've planned a really great show for you. You know what? Because we actually plan on them every single solid week. And the best way for us to have great shows is for you to call in. So get us a call, get on air early. As most of you know, the lines fill up quickly, and depending upon how the topics go, it really starts to fill up in the last hour. So we're here 3 hours. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you, 303-477-5600. Lots of stuff going on this weekend. There's lots of car shows, lots of different things to go out and do. Some of those we've put on our website.
Really close by. Some off Havana. So that's starting 10 to 5.
And I know Parker Days are going on this weekend. Maybe Dennis can call in and inform us about what that is if he even knows. Anyways, lots of stuff going on. It's that time of the year. Given the fact we live in Colorado and we only have about 3 to 4 months of really good weather to do that sort of stuff with, it gets all jam-packed into the summertime.
And tomorrow's Father's Day.
And tomorrow is Father's Day. So one thing we were going to throw out, thank you, Alan. One thing we'll throw out, we were talking before the beginning of the show, through our normal setup time, etc. And I didn't have this in my notes, but we do now, is we need some Father's Day gift ideas. Some of you guys and gals might be out there running around this weekend trying to figure out what to get dear old dad. Give us a call, give us a suggestion, things that in the past have maybe been really successful, in other cases maybe not so successful. Maybe you've had some gifts given to you that you wondered who came up with this idea. But give us some ideas. We'd love to hear from you, 303-477-5600. And outside of that, we just have a great show for you today. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. A few announcements to make real quick. Go to our website, drive-radio.com. I've figured out how to put our YouTube feed so you can actually watch us live on air during the show, kind of see what we're doing, etc. As time goes by, I really want to start doing some demos and some different things where you could see some of this stuff, where it's, because video is a lot easier to see than radio, of course. Common sense tells you that.
That's why we have faces.
And we have faces for radio. That's right. So now we're actually going to show you what we look like. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But at any rate, you can go to our website, drive-radio.com. Go right to the front page. You'll see our you'll see the link there. In fact, the player and everything is there for YouTube. If your browser, of course, is set up properly, just click play. And off you go. You don't have to go to YouTube any longer. You can go to YouTube to check out all of our old videos. I've got reviews that we do on all the new cars. I've got interviews that we've done. K&N Engineering is one of them. Universal Lubricants is the other we just did, and we plan on doing many more of those. So anything that you want to see, rather than just hear, you can do both on YouTube. You can hear us and see us. Go to youtube.com. Once it comes up, just go to the top browser bar inside of YouTube, or the top search bar, I should say, inside of YouTube. Type in all one word, Drive Radio, and then it'll bring up our channel and everything that's associated with our channel. And by the way, we'd love for you to subscribe. When you do that, by the way, you'll get some notices and different things that come up that we put up. Anything we do new, you'll automatically get notified of, so it actually works out really, really well. So I would encourage you to do that. Also on our website, we've got lots of new sponsors. We've been adding some here in the last month or so. I would encourage you, go there, check it out. We've got Quick Tread, one of our tire guys, that's a sponsor. Paul Leuenberger, our insurance guy, is there. I just signed up a locksmith that will actually come to your location, do whatever you need to do, commercial, so for your business, commercial, residential, or auto. This guy will do it all. They've got several different vehicles, or vans, I should say, that they can go out with, cover the entire front range. Papa Lock is the name of the business. And again, all of that information is on our website. Go there, check out the sponsor page, along with all of the other normal sponsors that we've got. Isaac Bouchard, our broker, etc. They're all there. Here in the next few weeks, we'll start rotating some of those folks in, since some of them are new sponsors, and we want to get you introduced to them. We'll get those folks in. But this is for all of you guys listening. In fact, even some of you that are part of our family, the Colorado Select family, use those folks. That helps us. It helps them. I got great response back, by the way, from Paul Leuenberger from the day that he was on here and actually went through the insurance side of the fence. He's had great response from some of you as listeners, so it proves that our show works. He wouldn't have had that response and had some of the business that's come in. And by the way, he's had some folks where he's saving them 50% on their premiums. In fact, I just had him quote some stuff for me, and it's going to end up being half of what I've been paying on homeowners and that side of the fence.
So the money you save on insurance, if you lock your keys in your car, now you don't. It doesn't really cost you anything.
That's exactly right.
Perfect.
It works out very well. So we've got many, many ways to help save you money. That's really what this show is all about. Yes, there's no secrets here. Our Colorado Select facilities and our sponsors, yes, they want your business. There is no denying that, right, Ray?
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Part of advertising.
That's part of what we do.
You do an advertising program. This is our advertising program.
That's right.
Yes.
The difference between this advertising program, though, and one of the others that people will just go out and throw ads is we're trying to help you save money at the same time.
Right. And again, it's just like the Colorado Select businesses. These are people that we trust.
That's right.
And we know that you're going to get a quality job from them.
That's
or
right. Product, whatever.
Product.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. To Ray's point, we do not partner up with folks we don't know personally and then don't believe in the product that they're selling. So that's how we do it. It's a great way to do it. And again, we've got a lot of other things in store for you. Stay tuned. We're going to keep bringing more sponsors and things towards you, or new businesses towards you that can help you out on the auto side of the fence. And in some cases, maybe not just the auto side. In some cases, maybe just your day-to-day world. I talked to a financial planner the other day that was very interested in what we do, and he was thinking, that might not be such a bad deal either. So we'll talk about some of that as we go on. So stay tuned. Don't go away. I mean, we're still going to be very, very, very automotive related. Everything we do topically on the show will be automotive related. You very seldom ever hear us deviate from an automotive subject. Even if it involves some regulation or something in politics, it typically comes right back to what the automotive world has to do with that. My other show during the week, Rush to Reason, I'll talk about all the other stuff that's out there that's not auto-related. In fact, sometimes on it I talk automotive. So I'm an automotive guy, so it's hard to get away from that stuff. So anyways, we'll take a quick call here real quick before we go to our first break. We do have some lines open. Call us. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. But, Randy, you're up next. What's going on today? Hello, Randy. Randy, are you there?
I'm here.
There you go. What's going on, Randy?
Hey, I say good morning. How you doing and all that good stuff.
There, I can hear you now.
I wanted to spit out two things before I ask you my question.
Sure.
Number one, I'm in Castle Rock. They're doing an auto show here in downtown Castle Rock, very small area. So if anyone's in the area, nice rides out there.
Perfect. Good job for that. Thank you for the tip.
Real quickly, a Father's Day gift for somebody, I would appreciate it, even though I don't have children. Buy somebody a gift card to have them have their car detailed.
That's a great idea.
Like having a new car.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Good. Yeah, good comment. Perfect.
That's just 2014, hey, that'd be nice.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
Yeah, the question is motor oil. I use a good oil and I change it once a year, a good filter to go with it and all. But from what I've heard, and I agree with it, they said the best oil is a frequent oil change. Give the car some oil. Give it new oil. So I'm just wondering.
Not necessarily. By the way, that's not necessarily true. It depends on the vehicle, the motor, the type of oil you're using, etc. In some cases, depending upon the vehicle, over-changing the oil can actually cause some harm to some of the componentry, catalytic converter, etc. Because there is a flash-off of the oil initially. So in some cases, you have to be careful how often you are changing it.
Yes.
Well, I like the way he didn't take sides. He just said the best oil is changing it, frequent. Get your oil changed. Don't.
Yeah, that's true. Although, I don't know exactly who said what, when, where, what it was, acquainted with, etc. But what I will say is there is a vast difference in the quality of oils. Now, all late model oil that's API certified is good, solid, decent oil, but that does not mean that I recommend it for every vehicle on the road.
Right, and again, by frequent, and I think it's more or less normal or regular. I mean, when it's time to change your oil, that's when you want to do it. Don't be going over 500, 1,000 miles. So by frequently, I think he means, just when it's time to change it, change it. You don't need to change it 1,000 miles early, but
no, and even a late. I'll go one step further with Ray's comment. You take I'm driving right now, test driving a 2014 Lexus ES350, which, by the way, great vehicle. Enjoy it thoroughly.
I'll drive it when you're done with it.
Getting 30 plus miles to the gallon, it's awesome. But you take that vehicle, for example. That vehicle does not need an oil change every 3,000 miles.
Well, yeah, that's where
you're not helping that vehicle by changing it every 3,000 is my point. And there's other late model vehicles that kind of fit in that same scenario. Now, I'll also say this. The average age of the vehicle on the road today, they just announced it this week on the news, 11.4 years of age. So if you look at vehicles being, 2002, 2003 and newer, even those vehicles can go 5,000 miles on an oil change without much trouble at all.
Okay. Now, is that on petroleum or synthetic?
Doesn't matter. Any high quality, even a regular petroleum-based non-synthetic oil, as long as it meets API specs, you could run 5,000 miles with a good oil filter, no problem.
Yeah, the trick there is the oil filter.
Yeah, you can't use a $1.50 oil filter that you're getting in some of the quick lubes and make that work.
Yeah, that's the whole point. The quick lube filters, they're doing a special on the oils, so the filters are probably not up to the factory.
And real quick, and Randy, you bring up a great question, and we'll probably even continue on with this after the break, but one thing about filters that happens, and most people don't realize this, is you will never know on your engine itself. There's no warning lights. There's nothing that comes on that says, hey, this filter is at capacity. I'm now going to run in the bypass mode for the next 2,000 miles because you put a cheap filter on me. You'll never know that.
I wish they would.
Yeah, there's no way of, and it may come down the road, but right now the technology that we have, that does not exist.
Yep. Oh, my question is probably going to lead right into what we were talking about. I use a good synthetic oil and a really good filter, and I change it once a year. I don't put 5,000 miles on it. So that boils back down to my comments. Am I better off staying like I'm doing?
Yep.
Or maybe go ahead and change the oil?
Nope, just do what you're doing. You're fine.
Twice a year and run regular.
Nope, you're doing just fine. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll be fine.
Perfect.
Yep, you're in good shape.
Well, you guys have a great day.
You too, Randy. Thanks so much for your phone call. Great questions, by the way. We'd like to have more of those. Give us a call. We've got a line open. Oil, you name it. We've got Alan with us today. We can talk about timing belts, hoses, regular belts, HVAC, AC, by the way, which is a big deal. So that's one of the things we will get into today is air conditioning. So, again, whatever you want to talk about, give us a call. We'd love to chat with you. 303-477-5600. And Matt, takes away. We're going to be right back right after these messages. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care.
Were you about to say Rush to Reason?
The standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
You can't. Hey, John. Just as a reminder, it is Flag Day today.
If you at the company party for just $20.99, but you can't.
You're welcome. Charlie reminded me. I completely forgot, but it is Flag Day today.
A silver filter for just $20.99. Conquer the job. That's Napa know-how. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in northern Colorado? At Fort Collins 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From diesel pickups to economy cars, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to Fort Collins 4x4, located just a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at Fort Collins 4x4 are committed to providing the professional and personal service you're looking for. Give them a call at 970-482-5500. 970-482-5500. Check them out on the web at FortCollins4x4.com or follow them on Facebook at FortCollins4x4.com.
All right, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it very, very, very much. I say that a lot, and I do mean it. All of you listeners that are out there, if it wasn't for you, we would not do what we do every week. So we do appreciate it. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you, 303-477-5600. We were talking through the break on my other show, Rush to Reason, during the week, 2 p.m. here on KLZ every day. I've got a guy coming in Monday, or I shouldn't say coming in, calling in Monday that has invented a device. You'll hear us advertise this through the weekend, but this is kind of cool. He's actually invented a device that attaches to your PDA, your smartphone, Android, whatever, iPhone, etc., that makes the NSA not have the ability to trace your phone calls and what you're saying, which is kind of, again, that's not really automotive related, but everybody cares about privacy.
Yes.
So I'll be interested to see, how this thing works, what's the pricing of it going to be. He's planning on releasing this thing in the next couple of months. So hopefully we can get a hold of one. And problem is, I don't know how you'd ever, okay, you're going to do a review on that. How are you going to know if they're listening or not? So I'm not sure how you check that side of the fence. But
there's some ways we just can't talk about it.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to him Monday and see how that works. But anyways, tune in Monday. That'll be a great show. I know a lot of you listeners from the weekend tune in during the week, which, again, I thank you very much. I appreciate that. I found that out Thursday. We had a really great show with lots of callers, and some of you that listen on a Saturday, every Saturday basis, I know are listening. Another item that I am going to review, they just sent one to me, and I'm interested to see how this works out. There's a device that you can plug into your vehicle, any 1996 and newer vehicles, anything that's OBD2, right. And it's basically a little box that plugs right onto your ALDL connector, so the little connector underneath that we use to scan your vehicle and check things out. There's a company called Automatic that enables you to plug this device in, and then it tracks your driving, where the vehicle's always at, where you last parked, and it's an app that then goes to your smartphone, so you can actually look at all of these different things. You can actually see what's my grade of driving. In other words, am I doing jackrabbit starts? Am I hard braking? all those different things. It's a really, really cool tool, if you would. I just got it last night, stuck it on my truck. I'll do some testing with it here in the week or two ahead, give you some feedback on how that works. Not badly priced. It's $100, I think, retail price, and the app is free. You have to kind of sit down and do the math and say, well, if it can make me a better driver and save me, get me some better fuel economy out of it, how long would it take to pay? Well, it $3.70 a gallon, and with the war now going on again over in Iraq, or the civil war that's happening there, I'm guarantee you're going to see, prices already jumped up slightly already. So we start approaching that $4 a gallon mark. If you could save a mile to the gallon by having a device that helps you drive better, would that pay for itself pretty quickly? In a year's time, it probably would. So food for thought. I'll have more on that. Don't know a lot about it. I saw it. Just kind of sent out a quick email and said, hey, we do a show. I'd love to see how it works, talk about it, let my listeners know how that side of it works. And by the way, if you see products like that you're interested in, let us do the research for you. We have no problem doing that. We have more than enough guys in our group to figure out how to test some of these devices. So if there's something out there you're wondering about, pop me an email. Let me know what it is, and we'll do some research and figure it out. And again, you can reach us at drive-radio.com, and by the way, you can do this through the show. It works really well. We had a lot of these last week. If you've got a specific question, you don't want to come on air, but you'd like to still ask it, send us an email, John, John, at drive-radio.com. Those of you watching on YouTube can see I've got my computer right in front of me. I can pull all that stuff up right away. Actually, all three of us today have computers, so we can look up pretty much anything you want. Give us a call and I'll find out. So I just got a text message from my wife, since that little device I just put in is in my truck and my wife's actually driving it. She says, tracking your wife, not okay.
I agree with her.
I don't know if she's out seeing her boyfriend or not that way.
I wish I would have had that when I had teenagers.
Yeah, there you go.
That's when I wanted.
Hey, you know what?
You
just came on.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not a bad idea.
I'm an NSA agent myself, but
hey, I always had this theory of when talking about Father's Day, I always had this theory of my kids where, you know what? I really didn't care. I wanted to know what was going on, where they were at, and that's part of being a dad.
And you could maybe figure out what you're going to get for Father's Day if you knew where they were going.
There you go.
It's a heads up.
That's exactly right. So we'll talk more about that. The app and the product is called Automatic. And again, it's a pretty slick deal, so we'll talk more about it. But if you've got questions at all, let me know. And again, if you've got a question you want me to talk about on air, or us to talk about on air, by all means, send us an email, John, at drive-radio.com. So, guys, with that, let's talk for a minute some HVAC stuff. AC, this first hour we tend to get a little more, or can get a little more techie, etc. Alan, what's going on in the Freon department? That's probably the first thing I even had a specific question for. I didn't prep you with this, so I hate to put you on the spot, but what's going on in the Freon world?
Well, I was going to back up, and I was going to ask a question. Has anybody turned on their air conditioning this week? Okay, so it got warm, and we generally experience some of that odor, and we have some odor issues. And I wanted to talk about maybe a particular product that do-it-yourselfers could do, because I don't generally encourage do-it-yourselfers to work on the AC units. So, something they can check, and Ray, you could probably attest to this, that some of these cabin air filters are not easy to get to, but some are, and that's one area that they can check, are the cabin air filters. And then we have a product at Napa on the temp side that we can actually spray into the ductwork and to kill some of that bacteria and the odor-causing material. So that's something they can do, and that was a question I was going to ask early, to get maybe the AC juices flowing.
Yeah, great. And by the way, great question Alan just had. If you've turned on the AC, noticed anything, not cooling properly, different smells, etc., by all means, give us a call and we'll try to walk you through it. An email question just came in. I'll answer this back via email also, but just real quick, I had Mike just email in and said, I'm running 5,000-mile oil changes on Napa Gold filters using Mobile One. Without doing any oil analysis, do you think I could get 7,000 miles by going to the Napa Platinum filters? His driving is 50/50 highway town, and here's the cars. 97 Saturn, 2002 Subaru WRX, and an 09 Subaru Outback without a turbo. Here's my comments back. I'll get you guys' feedback. I would say yes on the 09. That one probably is new enough where I wouldn't have any qualms about going to 7,000, especially with it not being a turbo, 7,000 miles, platinum filter, etc. I think I would do analysis on the 97 and the 02 before I jump to 7,000 miles. What's your thoughts?
I agree with you. The 97, that's an older vehicle, plus probably has a few miles on the engine. You're going to get more blow-by, and it wasn't really designed for that monitoring system or the synthetic oil in 97. 02, again, that's probably right on the borderline. 7,000 might be pushing it for the 02, but the only really way is to do an oil analysis for $15 or whatever the test kit is. I think that would what I would do on the 02. The 97, I don't think I'd push that one to 7,000.
Exactly. Yeah, and here's the thing, and I did learn this going to Universal Lubricants. The oil analysis on non-diesel vehicles, it's really hard to tell the difference in what's going on, and I didn't quite understand all of it, and I need to ask some more questions. I had so many other questions, I just didn't get time to delve into that. But it's harder to do a good oil analysis from what Universal said. Maybe I'm not saying that right. It's easier to analyze what's going on in a diesel engine with the 1540 weight oils, etc., than it is on some of the petroleum-based engines. That doesn't mean you can't still analyze it to Ray's point, but it's hard to get a good track record unless you're doing it every single time, which is why a lot of the fleets on their diesels will do it every time. Their theory was use a high-quality oil and just go back to what we've talked about on the show. If you just go back to 5,000, 7,000 miles, whatever the car will bear, the engine will bear, and just go that route, you don't need to analyze it.
And then on the analysis, you're definitely looking for the gross failures or whatever. I mean, if it's really off the charts, then no, I can't go that far.
Right.
If it's borderline, well, then it's okay. But you're looking for the ones that's really bad.
Right. Yeah, and the reason why I just said what I said is I tried to get Universal to figure out a way where we, as Colorado Select Auto Cares, could do some oil analysis kits, etc., maybe even do it for a better price. And their theory was, you know what? I don't really know if, unless a customer is doing it every single oil change and they're tracking that every single time they do it, you're not really ever establishing any good solid benchmarks to figure out exactly what's going on. So if you're really interested in going as far as you can, this is going to take you a year or two of process to get enough analysis to know exactly where your benchmarks of your vehicle are. Because in some cases, you're only changing oil a couple of times a year, depending on how many miles a year you drive.
Definitely.
So you may have to go through at least 18 months, in other words, 3 analysis, to really determine where is your benchmarks and what's going on inside the engine to get that baseline.
Right. And I'd be curious because, I actually created a program so I can try to estimate the customer's miles for when they oil change if they needed it 3 or 4 or 5 to send out a reminder. And what I've come across over the last, say I'm going back 4 or 5 years, the driving habits or the mileage is pretty consistent per vehicle, per owner.
Interesting.
So I would say their driving habits are pretty much the same throughout that 4-year period, unless they retire or something like that. But it's pretty close within 100 or 200 miles when I'm doing from year to year of the average that they're driving.
Good information.
An automatic on Ray's car and just find out if it's true.
Well, and back to what I talked about early in the show. We're going to do our best to try to help you save money. We were, and I'll say this right up front because I know this because I listen to what's going on out on the other airwaves. I listen to what even some of the national news guys are saying, even Car Talk, etc. I'll tell you right now, we were one of the first public radio shows out there advising people to go long interval oil changes.
Yeah.
We started that years and years and years ago. This is not something we just started this year. We've been recommending long interval oil changes with full synthetic oil and high quality filters now for, Ray, how long? 10 years probably?
Well, and it's actually started the question when Mobil came out and started pushing the 5,000-mile oil changes. That's when we started getting on the bandwagon and researching it, finding out, is it okay to go that way?
Right. My point is, we've been pushing this for a long time while some of the other guys out there are just now finally catching up to what we've been talking about now for, I'm not exaggerating, we probably started this at least 10 years ago, Ray, and been pushing it hard the last 5 easily. So.
Oh, yeah. And that's the reason I come up with this program.
Yep.
I can't do it in my management system, so I come up with my own program, and it's just curious to see how the mileage is pretty much the same over the last 4 years.
All right, Don in Arvada, what's going on today?
Oh, good. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for calling us.
Good. Got a question about my daughter's 2005 Durango. She backs up and then when she starts to take off, it dies on her. It does it maybe a couple times a day, maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Is that something that might be, I don't know, on the gas line or something?
Well, let's walk through the scenario of when it actually dies. Is it hot, cold, only backing up? Does it ever die pulling forward? What's happening when you're actually backing up and it dies? Explain that a little more thoroughly.
Okay, it's mostly in the afternoon when she gets off work, she backs up, and then when she puts it in drive and takes off, it dies within about 2 seconds.
Okay.
Starts it right up and goes for a while, and if she comes home and backs out of the driveway a couple hours later, does the same thing, but not all the time. Just once in a while it does that.
Okay. What maintenance has been done on it up to this point?
Well, that's another question I have for you. I'm not sure. She bought it probably about a year ago. It's got about 80,000 miles on there. And I learned from Dorsey a couple of years ago that you go months, not miles. And on something like that, it has the Hemi. I'm not sure what size does.
5.7.
Timing chain needs to be changed in that, or what
No.
kind of chain do you recommend?
No, you'll never really need to mess with the timing chain on that vehicle, so that's really a non-maintenance item anymore on late model engines with timing chains and gears. They're just not that. You rarely see us doing a timing chain anymore. I mean, an engine will have other issues going on with it by the time it needs a timing chain. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that come to mind. It could be in the fuel, it could be in the idle air control, to where it carbons up, and it just carboned up, and the idle air control can't raise idle enough, so it dies.
Can't adjust fast enough. That's what Ray's trying to say.
Can't adjust fast enough. The other thing is, if the mill light is on, there might be some codes or information in there. You probably really need to get it in and get it checked. And I'd probably start with, in that idle air control, make sure it's not carboned up.
Okay, yeah, she needs to get a full tune-up, and they can check it at that time, I guess.
Yeah, and again, one thing though to make sure, and this is by the way, this is a great topic and a great question that you just asked, and even a good comment, Don. One thing to be sure of is make sure when you go in, you don't just tell somebody, hey, I need a tune-up, and then have that done. Make sure that they diagnose your problem first. And it may include getting some maintenance done on it to fix the problem, but make sure they are aware of what's going on before you just tell them, I need X.
Right.
Right. That's a good idea. And been going to Dorsey for quite a few years now.
Perfect.
So they're pretty good at what they do, and they tell me what I should expect.
Nope, you're right.
Just let them do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
But as far as the comment on Father's Day, if my daughter's listening, I need 4 shocks for my car.
There you go. Good one.
Yeah. One comment on the tune-up question. There really isn't a tune-up anymore.
No.
Back in the day, you would tune up. You had to do it once a year. You did points, condenser, spark plugs, and then maybe every 3 years you replace the wires and stuff. Basically, it's a maintenance tune-up. So a tune-up is basically spark plugs and maybe a gas filter now. So when somebody says tune-up, that's just replacing parts. What you need to really do is have them diagnose the problem, and then they can recommend a tune-up or plugs and steel filter.
That's exactly right.
Oh, okay, yeah, because we don't know what's been done to that car. It really didn't tell much from the pig trailer she got it from. I think we just better start over.
Yep.
And that way we'll know
And by the way, Dorsey can handle all that. And yeah, you're right about them. Great facility. One of our, all of our members are great, but Dorsey's been one of our members for a very, very long time. And yeah, he's right in the mix of what's going on.
Yeah, and I go to him because he's just down the road from me.
Perfect.
I found out him from you guys, and I love your show.
Great. Well, I appreciate it very much, Don. Thank you for calling in, and happy Father's Day. Enjoy your weekend. With that, Matt, let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. By the way, Matt reminded me a minute ago, it's Flag Day today. So fly those flags. Make sure you're abiding by all the code that is involved with flying a flag. If it gets to be dark, you've got to make sure it's lit up. There's a litany of rules that go on. Only the United States flag or the American flag goes on the pole. You can go find all that information out online, but make sure you're flying it properly. I'm a big one on that. If you're going to do it, fly it properly. Don't do it any other way. That's the way it's supposed to be done. And with that, we'll be right back right after these messages. John Rush, Ray Seidel, Alan Stefan on Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source. Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
K&N's premium oil filters are very different. They make oil changes easier. K&N's wrench-off oil filters have a 1-inch nut welded on the top, so you can easily change the filter with a wrench or ratchet. And used with a Ziploc freezer bag, you can even remove a K&N oil filter with no oil spillage at all. Another great product from K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
Are you driving with a check engine light on? Has that light been going on and off? Arvada West Auto and Truck is here to help you understand what could be wrong. Our technicians are specially trained to handle warning lights. If your vehicle is a 1996 or newer, it stores a history that helps us diagnose the problem, even if the warning light is not currently on. Don't wait until your vehicle breaks down and leaves you stranded. Call 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com, where every question is important.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
All right, we're back. Lines are open. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. And Larry was just talking through the break, and we'll get Paul on from our insurance side of the fence and really get this discussed. But Larry was saying that there's some devices out there that some insurance companies actually give you, make you use it for 6 months, similar to the automatic device we were talking about earlier, and then they give you your rates based upon how well you drive during that time frame. Right. So I know Paul's not listening because he had other stuff to do today. He had some car shows and different things he was doing, but I'll get him on air and we'll talk to him about that and figure out if that's true. And I'm almost positive it's not true with American National Insurance, which is who he represents, sells insurance for. I'm almost positive that's not the case with them, but we'll find out for sure what the scoop is. And so what I will tell you is Paul can definitely save you money because they just don't play. They just don't play all those games. You know, one of the things I learned with Paul, which I thought was interesting, is American National does not offer insurance for windshields. You're on your own when it comes to putting a windshield in. But your premium is half of what it would be with somebody else. So their theory is, okay, well, one of the reasons that insurance costs go up is because everybody goes out and the minute there's a little, you know, whatever going on with the windshield, they replace it and it's $350, $400. Well, they'll do the chip repair for free to keep it from spreading and, you know, keep a crack from developing, but you're on your own when it comes to putting a windshield in. One of the ways they help keep those rates down, you know what, I'm kind of one of these guys that says, you know what, fine by me. If I can cut my insurance in half, you know what, I don't put a windshield in, and, you know, my own personal vehicles, I don't put a windshield in probably every 4th or 5th year at that, so, you know, great, I'm saving money. So that's the whole idea. And again, that's what we do here on the show. We're trying to save you money, give you options on ways to do that. You guys were talking through the break, and I want to just follow up with this because we talked earlier about oil filters, you know, silver, gold, platinum, etc. Napa has 4 actual filters that they use.
It's confusing sometimes.
And it does. So you guys had great comments when it came to the platinum filter. Talk about that. You guys were talking off air, but let's talk about that on air.
Go ahead. I'm not the filter guy, but I just noticed that looking for a particular platinum filter, which is the best media for the synthetic oil, and they didn't have it for this particular model. So, and I think there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that they developed the platinum filter, which has different filtering media specifically for synthetic oil, so you can use or extend your mileage use, or mainly for the monitoring.
Extend the drain intervals.
The drain intervals, yeah. So there's the platinum filter set up to use the full synthetic oil that meets the specs of your vehicle, so you can use your monitoring system like GM or Ford, whatever, that calculate that's the best filter for the synthetic oil. Now the gold filter is actually the OEM replacement, so it matches the OEM specs.
Right.
The silver filter is basically the 3,000 mile filter.
It's just their old standard. It's still a high quality filter, but it's not a long interval, long drain interval oil filter.
Right. And then my pet peeve is the Pro Select. Now, to me, this is the one that they sell out there at the reduced price for the dealers or the lube shops or whatever to use. It's supposed to meet OEM specs, but in my feeling, it does not. They should not sell it.
And we have pushed for years and years to sell, the gold, or install the gold, or in this case now, when you're going to use synthetic, use a platinum. And real quick, I'll just give you a quick description. Napa's platinum oil filters are essential for elite vehicle maintenance and complete peace of mind. They provide ultimate protection and feature technology for the latest advances in synthetic oil. With a host of ultra-premium filter innovations, including a wire-back synthetic media, silicone anti-drain back valve, and a stronger upgraded can design, our platinum oil filters are among the best in the industry. So it is a much higher quality filter. You can just even tell by the description there. They're using different media, different drain back valve, heavier can, etc.
That drain back valve is the key to extending that drain interval.
Right. Well, and again,
keeping the oil in the engine.
Yes, and they actually put the drain back valve that's at the top of the filter, so when it bypass, you're still getting filters.
Right, still getting filtration.
Yes, where the other ones are usually at the bottom of the screw-on part, and it actually bypasses the filter totally.
And by the way, you can find all of this information out. In fact, if you just went to a Google search and just typed in Napa Platinum Oil Filter, it'll bring up the website I'm looking at. We can put some links on our website to it, but this stuff's easy to find. It's a piece of cake, and it'll explain the difference between all the different oil filters that are out there. What's interesting, Ray, is the only filter they don't list on their filter website is the Pro Select filter.
Yeah, the Pro Select filter is mainly supposed to be for dealers or lube shops.
Got it.
And again, it's mainly a price conscious. What they're trying to do is compete with the lube shops or the cheap filters.
Got it.
And that's basically what that's doing. Again,
because you can't see inside. A filter looks like a filter.
To the general layman, you wouldn't know the difference.
You cannot see inside of that. Now you can feel them. Oh, they look different, or they might be painted a different color, but you cannot see inside that.
That's right.
Yeah,
and that's the key. Well, I could paint it yellow, and this is the best.
So I have a quick question for you, which is, you're not the filter guy, so let's get back to one of your subjects, which is
looking as the filter guy.
Oh.
That's why I'm a radio.
That's why you're on the radio. All right. So, is there a difference in the quality? And this is a question that's never come up on the radio show, which I'm surprised. Is there a difference in quality of Freon?
No, refrigerant has to meet a certain specification. So if it is R134 or the new YF1234, it is what it is.
Okay.
Now, where the problem we get into is blends that come from different markets.
Thank you. That's what I was wanting you to get at.
Like, for example, from south of the border.
Okay.
You get blends where there is no restrictions on them, so they use a propane or a butane or something like that, which is actually a good refrigerant. However, it's flammable.
Got it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the supplier where the Freon is.
Hold those thoughts. We got a caller real quick, but I want to get back. We'll take this call before the break, and I want to come back and talk about Freon, because I don't think everybody really understands that, and has a lot to do with the prices you'll see out there when it comes to a recharge. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. Pat is up next. Pat, what's going on?
Oh, hey, man. I guess it's my fuel pump that went out. Obviously it is, because I don't hear it when I start it. And that's,
what are you driving to start with, Pat?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's my scary white van, 94, it's 5.8.
Okay.
And
so it must be a Ford?
Yes.
Okay.
And we just put the pump in. All of a sudden we're finding out there's no power going to the pump.
Okay.
And we've checked fuses. And it's just run all that, and it's zero.
Okay. Isn't there a reset?
Did you check the inertial switch?
The what kind of switch?
There's a rollover inertial switch that, if you get in an accident or a jar, it's supposed to pop that switch.
Sometimes they just pop themselves.
Yeah, sometimes they pop the
That's
switch.
underneath the kick. Well, it should be over by the kick panel on the passenger side.
It's usually a gray box with a red button on top. That's probably for 94.
And Ford's about. Did anybody else use one of those besides Ford?
Some of the Chryslers did, I think.
Okay.
Close. What's this thing called again?
It's called an inertia switch.
A NERSA switch.
Yes, and it'll have to raise point. It's a box with a red button on it, and it controls the fuel pump circuit. And to raise point, if it has a bad accident, rolls over, etc., that switch will trip, and you'll have to reset that in some cases to make it work. Now, what I will tell you is, if that thing continually pops, it needs replaced.
Right. Or there's
something else going on to make it pop.
There's also should be a fuel pump relay that's in that circuit. And
it's on that circuit.
Yeah, and also it should be fused, and it might be more than one fuse.
Oh, well, and it's fused. And this thing's located where on the passenger side?
Down by the kick panel on the passenger side.
It's usually on the right side.
Yeah, and on a van, you might have to do a little digging because there's not a lot of kick panel area over there.
Or remove the panel. Sometimes it's behind the panel, or
sometimes it's back underneath it. Right.
Remove the panel, or it's underneath it.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
I mean, the first thing to do is check to see, with a meter, do you have power going to the fuel pump itself? If you don't, then you have to start backing through the circuit and determine where has the power been lost.
My man's been doing that. You've been backtracking to the circuit, right? As far as you can go, right? Yeah. So, all right, he's digging in there now.
Okay.
You can take all that crap out of there, dude. Okay. Oh, yes, John. Sorry.
All right. No, you're fine. You're fine. I hope you and let us know how it comes out.
Right. We don't charge much by the hour.
That's right. We appreciate that, Pat. Thanks so much. Matt, real quick, take us away. We'll come back and we'll talk about the differences in Freon and how that affects the price of a recharge. If you've got something you want to ask, by all means, give us a call. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. We've been talking Freon, oil, filters, you name it. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Again, Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush, KLZ 560, The Source.
Do you have the need for speed?
If so, Extreme Auto Repair is the place for you. Extreme Auto Repair specializes in vehicle restoration and performance enhancements that'll get you where you need to go with speed and style. With their knowledgeable staff and professional service, they can answer any questions you have to get your vehicle running the way you've always dreamed it could. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. Give your vehicle the attention it deserves. Mention this ad to receive $25 off any service or repair at Extreme Auto Repair in Parker.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Ah, summer. A time of fun, sun, high temperatures, and the ultimate family road trip. Before embarking on the ultimate family adventure, bring your vehicle over to John's 4x4 Center on Arapahoe and Boulder for a little TLC. Our summer maintenance inspection includes pressure testing your air conditioning system, checking your coolant levels and tire pressure, testing your battery, inspecting your hoses and belts for cracks, cuts, and bulges, testing your transmission, power steering, and brake fluids. Having your vehicle inspected before a long road trip can keep you on the road, not stuck beside it during your vacation. John's 4x4 is under new ownership as of January 2014. Stop by and see what's new. Located on Arapahoe Road just east of 63rd behind Carpet 1, we are open to serve you Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. with shuttle service and after-hours drop. Give us a call at 303-449-2640. Follow us on Facebook or check us out at johns4x4.com.
Know-how! They have names like Joe, Bob, or Uncle Ryan. But to you, they're moochers. They borrow your tools and promise to return them someday. But someday isn't a day. Tell them they can get their own 7-piece ratcheting gear wrench set at Napa for $29.99, which you'll borrow and return someday. Conquer the job. That's Napa Know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
24 seconds. I timed it. It took me just 24 seconds to find a AAA certified master mechanic who offers the best peace of mind warranty in the state. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. At ColoradoSelect.org, I search my city and boom, I'm done. Colorado Select Auto Care puts their member shops through a rigorous set of requirements, so I know no matter which shop I choose, I'll get the best auto repair service possible. That's 24 seconds well spent. ColoradoSelect.org.
All right. We're back. Thanks for tuning in, listening. 10 minutes left of this first hour is all, and then we'll go to the news, come back, do 2 more hours. So we'd love to hear from you. 303-477-5600. Give us a call. Let us know anything that's on your mind, any question. And we say it a lot, but I'll keep saying it. If you don't know the answer, it's a good question. There's no dumb questions on this show. In fact, there's no dumb question on any show as I do, because you know what? If you don't know the answer, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We just need to try to help you figure out what it is. And and the other thing I'll tell you is every week, whether it's on my weekly show that I do every single day or on this particular show, I have yet to get off air and not have learned something from you all as listeners, or in the studying of doing the show itself. I've never left one of these events without learning something.
That's absolutely true. However, I have never learned how to do laundry, according to my wife. But that's a different show. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. So.
Yeah, well.
Hey, getting back
to the way it is.
Getting back to that refrigerant.
And by the way, some are better than others. Matt, by the way, in here, from what I understand, that guy can iron like a maniac because he came out of the military. So he was telling me this past week that his wife makes him do all the ironing because he's so good at it. So, we all have our own talents, Alan.
Lucky him. Good for him.
All right, so let's talk about Freon.
Yeah, because you had mentioned that, and like I said, this hour went faster than escaping gas from a refrigerant system.
Yes, it does.
So, but there is a difference, John. I mean, yes, you can get the pure 134 refrigerant. That's what we're supposed to be using, correct?
Yeah.
And I remember years ago we ran out at one of the training sessions in Texas. So we ran out to this particular auto parts store. I won't mention the name, but the initials were AZ. And we bought this 30-pound cylinder and brought it back. We didn't even look at the cylinder itself. It said replaces 134A. Well, we actually tested it like we should be with the refrigerant identifier, and it was about 75% R134A and some other chemicals like butane and propane. So
that was not a pure mix of 134A.
No. And that throws all of our diagnosis off on our equipment when we're trying to actually figure out what's going on with the heat exchangers. And, well, that's why we can do it for $39.95 at Shop A, and you guys are charging X. So,
and one point to that is once you put that mixture in your system,
now you've
then you've got contaminated
Good
refrigerant,
Good point.
and you can't get rid of it.
Yeah, and as a shop owner, you guys were just earlier talking about OSHA coming in. Well, now what do you do with that? It's got to be marked contaminated refrigerant.
You'd have to theoretically have a separate recycler just for that contaminated refrigerant.
Yes.
And then how do you dispose of it correctly?
And then that costs money.
Yes.
So this stuff actually cost us more money in the long run to deal with it, to allegedly get rid of it. I guess eco-friendly, if you will.
Okay.
Right.
So point being, price isn't always your best option. Ask a lot of specific questions, especially if you've got because here's the thing: air conditioning systems are complicated and expensive to fix. If you find somebody out there that's doing a repair on an AC system dirt cheap, there's typically a reason why they're doing it so cheap. They've either got inferior parts, inferior Freon, as we just mentioned, etc., that are making those costs be what they are. At the end of the day, will it cool? Well, it may for a while, but that doesn't mean it's the correct way to fix it. And the key to that is doing it the right way.
And then that stuff, the snake oil that they're adding to the do-it-yourselfers, and they give them the gauge, and hey, you can fix this yourself. You may get it going for a little bit, but once you've contaminated that system, you can't get that stuff out of there.
Well, and one thing about the do-it-yourself kits, you have the hose, so when you hook that up, all the air in that hose is going into the system,
right,
which are not condensable, so you're going to create a problem. So you put a couple cans in, look at all the air you put in it, you're going to have problems with it.
And then too much oil in a system actually takes away from the capacity of that system, and you just complicate it by adding. You're not saving any money, is what I'm saying.
And one point you made, Alan, was the kits that you get in, or you can do it yourselfers.
Yes.
Most of those have what they call sealer in them.
Well, I'm glad that was my next pet peeve. The sealer is the problem, because once it'll fix the hole. Okay, if there's a hole, there is a hole in an AC system. That's why they leak. It'll fix that. Now, when they bring it to the shop for you guys to actually do a a replacement of a component, now everything has to be replaced because you can't flush that stuff out of the system. So the sealer is the main problem with that.
Yeah, definitely. The sealer is the problem because then you can't service it correctly, and it pretty much contaminates the whole system.
And then you have to buy filters for your equipment to protect your equipment, and the cost just keeps going up and up and up. And
unfortunately, I can't work on the system because, again, I don't have that recycler to dispose of it. And, again, I can't ruin my, $5,000 recycler.
Or more.
Or more. So, I mean, again, I agree with Alan when they're saying that, you can go to the parts store and as an owner of the vehicle, you can work on your own vehicle, but you don't have the knowledge or the expertise, and the parts store is mainly selling parts to make a profit. They're not giving you the right advice.
Yeah, again, and what made me think about that, and it's interesting, I had Alan on this week after watching some of these ads. I'm watching TV the other night or something, and this ad comes on, the can and the tube and so on, and you've probably seen the same thing. I can't think of the name of it right now. Is it AC Pro or AC?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Anyway,
Pro, yeah.
And it's essentially all the same things that we're talking about. Again, would I go out and buy that and put that in my car? No, I would not. I want the system fixed properly.
Yes, and like I said, I had a lady on Friday come in with one of those kits and wanted us to put it in because she bought it down the street or at a parts store, and she couldn't understand why I'm not going to do that. You try to explain to her the reasons, but basically it was $29.95 and she's going to fix her air conditioning.
Right, and the problem with that stuff is the advertisement that goes into it. There's a lot of infomercials, et cetera, that surround that stuff, and again, I'm not bad-mouthing that side. I mean, they're trying to make money, et cetera, and that's great for them, but they're not really doing you justice in the end because you're not fixing the system properly.
And it's the advertising, and I encourage you, if you're going to do that and use that, that's obviously your choice. Read the fine print. There are a couple of those out there that say, if you inhale this product, it will kill you. So it's pretty clear that that stuff should not be in the AC system. Should you develop a leak with that in there in an evaporator case and you're riding around with the family, it could kill you. So that's why I don't add that stuff to the AC system.
And be very, very careful about your own. Some of you guys out there, I understand. AC, you know how it works, etc. Great. You're not the ones we're talking to. All of a sudden, you've got AC. It's not blowing quite as cold as it should be. So you run down to one of the local parts stores, and I'll admit it, even Napa sells some of this stuff. I really don't know why, but they do.
We got a few stores to not sell it, which is a good thing over the years.
But anyway, so you can go to a lot of different stores, even Walmarts, etc., and buy some of these kits and go out to the parking lot and fix it yourself. But everything we've just talked about, take it to heart. It's not a good fix for the vehicle.
Right. It really destroys the system. And this is not a good analogy. We may have mentioned this years ago, but you're driving along, you're trying to get home, it's late at night, and you develop a flat, can't change it for whatever reason, you use some sealant
to fix the flat stuff.
That'll get you home, right, Ray?
It's emergency.
But let's say it's an 07 or later, and now you destroyed the TPS.
You could have possibly. Sure. You could have, yes. So
make a heck of a mess.
Great point. So guys, real quick, let's take a quick break. We're going to go to the news. There's a special presentation for Flag Day. You're not going to want to miss it. Hang on with that. And we're going to be back right after this news and these messages. Stay tuned. Don't go away. I've been your host, John Rush, along with Alan Stefan from Gates. The AC side of the fence, as you can tell, Ray Seidel from Four Seasons, Matter Engineer, and Larry Unger from Larry's Automotive, all on the other side of the glass. Guys, we'll be right back. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers, the independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select, hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
The left is trying to spin this up as some effort to swift-boat Bergdahl. People died going after this man. Is this an intentional effort by the Obama administration to distract us away from the Benghazi investigation, from the VA scandal, from the struggling economy, to keep us running over here and then flashing a bright light over there to distract us again?
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, mornings at 5 on KLZ 560, The Source.
This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com.
Since 1922.
KLZ Denver.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. Geraldo Rivera on with Bill O'Reilly on Fox News, calling out President Obama on Iraq and Al-Qaeda. The Blaze Radio's Maury Cartel has the heated story.
The United States Embassy in Baghdad, the world's largest, 15,000 employees. How did they miss the intelligence that these Al-Qaeda extremists were infiltrating in Army strength?
Fox News, Geraldo Rivera appearing on the O'Reilly Factor, furious with terrorists taking over Iraq city by city being a surprise. Bill O'Reilly saying they're playing dumb.
They didn't miss it. Then why didn't they tell the boss? They did. Well, if that's true, that is by far. Forget these other everything, even the VA, Fast and Furious, IRA. This is the worst failing ever. He knew.
I'm Maury Cartel, the Blaze News.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to the Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
The Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560 The Source.
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, Monday morning at 5 on legendary KLZ 560, The Source.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
The Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, and we are back. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it very much. One announcement I need to make, and I was holding off on this just on purpose. We have a special event coming up on June 28th. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, Drive Radio, I'm your host, John Rush. With me is Ray Seidel from Four Seasons, along with Alan Stefan from the Gates side of the fence, from the Napa Gates side of the fence. We've got an event coming up, and it's really designed for single moms older ladies, anybody that needs some help with their vehicle that just can't do it themselves, we've got a free oil change and inspection event coming up at DIY Auto Repair Shops at 74th and Federal on June 28th. It's actually being put on by the men's ministry at Colorado Ridge Church. So if you want to participate in that, you have to make a reservation. Reason for that is they need to know back to our oil conversation earlier, you got to know what vehicle it is, what engine it is, we need to know what oil it takes, and the proper filter.
Correct.
So they want to have that stuff on hand before you bring the vehicle in, and they're trying to do it on an appointment basis so that everybody doesn't just show up at the same time. So they'll stagger that through the day. They're going to run it the majority of, I believe, all morning and even into the afternoon. You can call 720-588-0691 or email mensministry@coloradoridge.com. So great event. One of our members of our Colorado Select group, DIY Auto Repair Shops, they donated the facility to get this done in. The men's ministry guys are actually, in fact, Colorado Ridge is the one actually providing the filter and the oils. This is all their deal. It was their idea. We're just promoting it on air, providing them a facility. So it's kind of a three-way deal that we're doing, and it's a great idea, by the way. So if you've got somebody you know that would benefit from that, please get them registered. Let them know how to do all of that. This is also on our website, drive-radio.com. You can find all the information there. But, again, other community events that we take part in on a routine basis. And, again, back to our comments we made at the beginning of the show, we want to do whatever we can to try to help you. And even some of those that can't help themselves, that's what we're here for. So I don't know who's on line one, Matt. It didn't come through my screen, but I'll just pop it up. If you can tell me in my ear, it would help, but I'm not sure who it is. I'm not sure it makes any difference. Who's on one, guys? We'll just get it up. All right, welcome. Hey, who do I have? I don't have it on my screen. Who is this?
My name is Terry.
Terry, great. Thanks a lot. Sorry, you didn't. Your phone number came up, but no name on my screen, so I apologize. What can we do for you, Terry?
I'm on a cell phone in Rand, Colorado, believe it or not.
Okay. Awesome.
My problem is I'm putting a new battery in my Ford 8N tractor.
Okay.
An old boy.
Yep.
And you guys told me some time back that it should be negative ground. I've had the tractor for 10, 15 years, and it's always been positive ground where the battery was put in. That's when I bought it, and I've been running it like that.
And I don't know, I apologize. I don't remember your call specifically. If the vehicle came with a positive ground, it needs to stay with a positive. I would still keep running it with a positive ground if it were me.
Correct.
Oh, okay. If I did change that, is there a polarity problem that I'd have to change polarity on the generator?
I don't think it's as much generator as it is gauges and other things that you have to worry as much about. And again, don't quote me on that because I haven't converted one of those in a really, really long time.
How old a tractor is this, Terry?
40s.
I'm guessing it's 52.
Okay.
Around there.
Yeah, and definitely, I said, if you did change it, you would have to change the polarity on the generator. But like John's point, that the gauges would be the ones because they'd be designed for a positive ground rather than negative ground.
Say that again.
I said the gauges are designed. If it's positive ground, the gauges would be designed for a positive ground. So you just can't reverse put it in negative ground. Everything's going to be backwards.
And if you don't have a lot of gauges, that may not be a big, huge issue on your end of it. Right. You may just, be able to change the generator around and call it good and run it off the positive side or run off the negative. Go back to traditional batteries. What I'm trying to get at.
Is that 6 volt?
Okay.
Yeah, probably a 6 volt too, isn't it?
It was up to you. You keep it on.
I think I would. I mean, I don't think you're not hurting anything by doing that. It was made that way originally. For what you're using the tractor for. If it were a car and you were going to drive it daily and do some retrofitting, etc. Yeah, I'd recommend changing it over and doing a negative ground. But in your case, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Okay. Let me ask you another thing. If it was, since I've had it on positive ground, is there any way it would drain that battery?
Well, and that goes back to just regular, like any other vehicle. The only way it would drain the battery is if there's a draw coming out of the battery.
Okay, That's what I wanted to know.
Or if the top of the battery is really dirty.
Right.
If you get corrosion or build up dust,
correct,
or on the top of it, it can drain itself over a long period of time.
Okay.
But that part of it doesn't matter whether it's negative ground, positive
Correct.
ground. That's the same.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll just. I'm putting in a new battery, so I'll just leave it.
Is this a tractor you use on a regular basis, or just an old, just an antique you have around?
Yep. I only use it to straighten out my road.
Got it.
That sort of thing.
Got it. Very cool. Those are cool tractors. That's the only reason I asked.
They are.
And again, if the battery's going down on you, you might try to see if you can get some kind of battery maintainer. I don't know if they make a 6-volt battery.
Yeah, they do.
Got a
Yeah,
nice
they do.
solar one
Yep.
now that works really cool.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, to Alan's point, you could even do a 6-volt solar. Right. Yeah, so there's many ways you could maintain that.
If you're not using it, then you can put a maintainer that keep the battery charged up for you.
And you ever need a radiator for that? We do actually have those at Napa, believe it or not. Special order, but we can get 8.
Really?
Yes, we do.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
I can do that too.
Sounds great, Terry. Anything else?
No, sir. Thanks for the help.
You're very welcome. Thanks for calling us. We do appreciate it very much. Line's open, by the way. I should have said that earlier. 303.
6-volt too, by the way.
Okay.
Just curious.
No, that's fine. 303-477-5600. Line's open. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Again, anything you want to talk about. You just heard Terry calling and talk about his old 8-in tractor. We don't care. It's Father's Day weekend. A lot of you are out doing things, enjoying the weekend. I'm sure there's some dads out. We're looking at the golf course over here. There's probably some dads out playing golf, doing different things. That's fine. You need to be doing that stuff. I hope you're listening. If you are and you've got a question, give us a call, 303-477-5600. But it's a beautiful, beautiful Colorado day. Things are still exceptionally green with all of the moisture we've had here the last month or so. Just looks beautiful. Typically this time of year the foothills are starting to brown out some and not look real great, but right now things just look tremendous, and these are the weekends where you're happy you live in Colorado.
Yes, sir.
Right, guys?
Yes.
Alan was saying before we came on the show it's like, wow, Father's Day is a contrast to Mother's Day.
Yeah, we were here Mother's Day on Saturday, the Saturday before, and it was kind of like today, and then we were already talking about the gloom and doom weather for the next day. So
it actually snowed on that weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So it was an interesting weekend. So no, we're back to a really normal, nice June. In fact, a little bit cooler than normal, but really nice June weekend. Hope everybody's having a great time. Again, we need some Father's Day gift ideas. We had a couple of decent ideas during the first hour. Call us, let us know what those are. It's also Flag Day today, so fly those flags, be patriotic. We particularly enjoy that stuff, but by all means, do what you need to do that way. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy Father's Day. Let us know what a Father's Day gift would be, and anything else you guys want to add on the Freon topic? I had something else I wanted to get into, but is there anything else on the Freon side of the fence we want to get into?
I was just plugging the Havana Car Show here again. I think it's from 10 to 5, so right after the radio show, I'm heading up that way. So
the new Freon, when is that, or is that out yet, or what's the scoop on the brand new Freon?
They're testing it in some vehicles right now.
And it's 1, 2, 3, 4?
YF.
YF. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 YF.
And here's what's interesting. Have you heard anything about it?
No, I just figured I heard that they were using it, or started using it in Europe. Is where it came from.
Yeah. Well, first, it was going to be tested in some GM vehicles, I think, Corvette. We might even pop the hood on John's test vehicle, see if they're using it.
Yeah, we could. That's a good idea.
Just to see if they're using it yet, because they were not sure the platforms that they were going to use them on. But the problem is it is slightly flammable.
Right.
So,
well, isn't that the CO based?
Yeah. It's hydrocarbon based.
Hydrocarbon based, but it is flammable. So
yeah, slightly
some
flammable.
kind of butane or propane or.
Not sure what the content is exactly, but
the whole idea, it's supposed to be more environmentally friendly.
They're going to, yes, and they're going to shrink the size of the system down. Theory being for those in that I guess that vein, if there's a wreck, there's less refrigerant that's going to be vented to atmosphere. So they have to make this with shrinking the system down to maybe less than 8 ounces to maybe 6 or 5 ounces. Now that system's got to work very hard, so they needed a refrigerant that would do that.
Right.
Plus, it's more, according to this, it's more what I'm reading, it's also more environmentally friendly, theoretically.
It's kind of
theoretically, yeah. That's what they said about 134.
Yeah,
that was
that's right.
Point.
And what was wrong with the old stuff, right?
R12, it stayed on the ground.
Well, in this system, it runs at, the pressure is what, 4,000 or 5,000, or the pressure is outrageous. I thought.
Well, you were talking about originally what they wanted to go was with the CO2 base.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
this one
is different.
You needed hydraulic couplings darn near to.
Okay.
So they've gotten away from that.
Yeah, because the pressures were too high.
Perfect.
Okay.
All
So
right.
this is more normal pressure.
Yes, more
Good.
normal pressures.
All right, let's go to Patrick, who's next, real quick. Patrick, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for calling.
Hey, I enjoy the show during the week too.
Thank you.
Hey, ran into Jeff, I believe his name was, a couple of weeks ago, and we was talking about synthetic oil and filters and that. And he agrees with you about, it's okay to take conventional and turn it into synthetic. But he also mentioned, I never heard you or anybody else say it, after about 500 miles you should change the filter.
Why?
He said that the full synthetic is highly detergent, and if you hadn't been running that and been running conventional...
I would only say that would be an issue if somebody had not been doing good oil changes up until that point. In other words, let's say you'd been doing oil changes on conventional oil every, 6,000 to 7,000 miles. Now all of a sudden you wanted to switch over to synthetic. I might agree with that in that particular case, but if you've been a regular... if you've changed oil on a regular basis on your vehicle and you all of a sudden switch to full synthetic, no, you do not need to do that.
You dump some kind of that additive in.
Yeah. And which, by the way, we don't recommend. If you're doing good oil changes like you should be, you just switch over to synthetic and you want to run synthetic, you would not have to do anything at 500 miles on the oil filter.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
That would only be in the extreme cases where you've got a dirty engine, something along those lines. But it's not. Yes, it's more highly detergent, but it's not that much more detergent than regular oil, because even regular oil API specs has to have a certain amount of detergent in it, so it's not that much different.
Right. Yeah, I've got a 92 Toyota and a 04 Crown Vic, and I just did it, and I ran it, and I never had no issues.
No, you won't have any issues.
Might have been a case in the 70s where you're...
Yeah, there is still, Patrick, a lot of... In our industry especially, there's still a lot of old thinking that goes on, and it takes a while for everybody to get on the same page. In fact, sometimes we never all get on the same page.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, and I agree with you guys, too. I run a good oil filter on there.
You're fine. You'll be perfect. You don't have any issues, Patrick.
No, I haven't had no issues for 2 years.
Awesome.
So I wouldn't suspect I would.
Nope, you keep up the good work. You're fine.
Yep, listen to you guys every Saturday when I'm driving my truck.
I appreciate it very much, and thanks for listening during the week. We appreciate it very much, Patrick. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, hit John. He's got a question on a CVT transmission. Line open, 303-477-5600. Call us. We'll get you right on air. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each Colorado Select member currently offers Napa's Peace of Mind warranty, but are now also offering an extended 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty on repair work. You won't find this offer anywhere else. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-6272.
Napa know-how! You like car stuff. Napa has car stuff, like fuel stuff, brake stuff, even cleaning stuff. And the only thing better than car stuff is car stuff that's half off. So stock up on your car stuff with half off selected stuff. Conquer the job. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at genosautoservice.com. That's genosautoservice.com.
Your car performs better when things are simple. And it's easy to see how the maze of plumbing under the hood can slow it down. A K&N AirTake system replaces the maze with a single custom engineered tube. The result? A guaranteed increase in horsepower, a dramatic increase you can actually feel. Visit K&N website to look up the extra horsepower available for your vehicle. K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
All right, so we're back. I have a question for everybody listening. In fact, even my other guests here. When was air conditioning invented? Throw that out at you.
Well, I would say about 1865.
Later than that.
I should know this, but
Okay, think about that. We'll take John. Anybody else has a comment on that wants to add to it? When was air conditioning invented? Not for the cars, but just in general. And it didn't really start hitting the cars until really as far as most cars were concerned, not until really late 60s, early 70s is when AC became really kind of a popular addition.
Experimented in the 40s, but it was...
it was around then, but it didn't become a real popular, hey, I want to get AC on this vehicle, so I'll order it with it, that sort of... And in fact, it'll just come standard with AC. Anyways, let's get to John. Let us know if you know the answer to that, 303-477-5600. John, welcome. What's going on today?
Okay, I got a 2005 Ford Freestyle with a 3-liter engine.
Okay.
And it's got a CVT transmission.
Yes, it does.
And I've noticed in the summer, by the way, more than in the winter, it'll surge every once in a while at almost when you're at idle speed or not much above that. And I was wondering if you guys know anything about what might be causing that.
Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah,
was the fluid changed?
I mean, as far as surging, and sure it's not related to the engine rather than the transmission, to where you might be a loss of power or surging in the engine rather than the transmission?
I don't know. It could be some sort of center gauge that does it. I really don't know why it does it.
Because sometimes you'll get kind of when you're sitting at a stoplight, or it's at a stop, and then when you let up on the brake a little bit, sometimes you get that little you'll feel that. But again, I've never ran across one where it's surging when you start off from a stop. But you'd want to make sure that the engine is functioning correctly before you condemn the transmission. And again, I don't know when how many miles is on this, or if it's time for
it's got about 90,000 on it.
Okay,
it's been around for a while.
Has the fluid been changed?
Yeah, I took it to a Ford dealer and
Okay.
had it changed before even the time they said to.
Well, then, yeah, okay. Then said, you're doing the right stuff. So nothing has come to mind. I haven't run across that problem before. Again, you might want to give Jeff at Larry's Automotive a call. He's our transmission specialist, and maybe he can explain that and see if it is in the transmission, or you might want to make sure the engine is running correctly.
Yeah. All right, I'll give it a shot.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your show. I enjoy it immensely.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you calling in. And with that, we've got a line open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. And by the way, I know what's going to happen today. We'll have all this build up, and we'll have a gazillion calls right at the last half hour. So if you've got a question, ask it now. We'll have a lot of time to answer it, help you out. And again, it's this type of a day, this kind of weekend with Father's Day, plenty of time to talk, not a problem. If you've got more than one question, fine, call in, ask it. We don't care. We've got plenty of time to do that. 303-477-5600. So, when was AC invented? I should rephrase that.
About refrigeration.
When was the first modern electrical air conditioning invented? Because they had air, I was reading here, the Egyptians had a form of air conditioning where they would take the reeds, a type of a weed, they'd wet it down, hang it in the window, and let the water, let the air come across it, be an evaporative cooler. So even they had a form of air conditioning, but modern electrical air conditioning, when was it first invented?
I'm going to say, I didn't cheat, 1890.
You're close. You're getting closer.
How'd they cool their beer? That's what I want to know.
Ice.
How'd they get the ice?
Had ice boxes back in those days.
Yeah,
that's right.
ice caves.
Okay, so 1890.
You're close. 1902.
World's Fair?
No, it was invented by Willis Carrier, which is interesting that the Carrier name goes with that, in Buffalo, New York. After graduating from Cornell University, he was a native of Angola, New York. He found a job at the Buffalo Forge Company. While there, Carrier began experimenting with air conditioning as a way to solve an application problem for the Sackett-Wilms Lithography and Publishing Company in Brooklyn, New York, and the first air conditioner designed and built in Buffalo by Carrier began working on July 17th, 1902.
So do you think the refrigerant was ammonia?
I don't. I'll have to keep reading to see exactly what they were using, but
it was probably ammonia.
Probably
Wasn't
ammonia.
Okay. That got the top.
Yeah, it did. Food for thought. It's a very interesting topic. We take air conditioning for granted, by the way.
Of course, yeah. And that's why.
I mean, when I was a kid, just as a side note, when I was a kid, if you went to a home that had an air conditioner, that guy was living.
Oh, absolutely.
Or that family was top dog. They were living because nobody had air conditioning when I was a kid.
It was a fan at my grandma's house.
That's right.
What we had.
You poured water in a box.
I didn't even get that. Yeah. And my grandma loved me, and we had a fan.
No, I know. The air conditioning was a luxury.
Yes, it was.
Back when I was a kid, and in today's world, very few homes don't have air, especially modern homes.
Sure.
Most of them are built with air conditioning built in, so designed. It's just a very, very common thing. And most every car today built has air conditioning. So let's go to Joe real quick in Denver. Joe, welcome. What's going on today?
Yes, I have a question about batteries. I bought a battery for my car, and it doesn't say maintenance-free on it, and they've got something where you can pull off the top and put water in it.
And then that means it's a maintenance battery, not a maintenance-free battery.
Oh, so I definitely need to put water in it then.
Well, only if it needs it.
Yeah, and not just any water.
You need distilled water only when it's needed.
And today's technology for all the batteries are pretty much maintenance free or low maintenance, even though they have you'd be able to check them and look at them. Most of them you'll never have to add water. That's just the way the batteries work, and the new automotive systems aren't charging that real maximum stuff. They try to minimize the charge rate to save electronics. So very seldom you're going to have to add water to a new battery.
Okay, very good. That's all I needed.
But that is a maintenance battery, which means, yes, you do have to do maintenance on it from time to time. That's exactly right. Now, I will tell you, we've got a product that we've been looking at, studying. Some of the callers out there actually got us onto this, and I'm going to do my best to get this into our shops. We're working on that right now. It's called Thermoil, and in a maintenance battery like the one he just mentioned, you can put this product in, and it's an oil basically that fills the top of the cells. Every cell, the oil floats on top, of course, because water, oil floats on water, and it keeps the battery from venting. So on a maintenance battery, it truly makes it maintenance free because there's absolutely no venting of that acid in that battery from that point forward. Because we all know, typically a maintenance battery has more corrosion on it, typically speaking, than a non-maintenance or a maintenance-free battery does because of the way they vent the cells, etc. So this product will make that battery literally a maintenance-free battery. We'll get into more of that as I get more of that product. We do some testing with it, etc. But from what I've read so far, especially on big RVs, diesels, etc., where you've got a bigger battery itself in there, and most of those are a maintenance battery, it's a huge savings, especially when you're running equipment, etc. A lot of guys run forklifts with batteries, etc. It's a huge problem solver for a lot of those industries. Let's go to Lee, who's up next. Welcome, Lee. What's going on today?
Yeah, hi, Dylan. I appreciate your show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've got a question. I've had several cars through the years, and after about 5 years, the headlights start to fog up, and I've tried every product out there to bring them back to their normal condition, and I've never had any luck. And I'm wondering, I've got a couple of fairly new cars now, and I'm wondering if there's anything I can put on those headlights that will prevent the UV degradation.
Keep something to cover the sun.
Well, you can do two things. And I've seen guys, go two different. If you want to really get expensive, it not only saves the lenses but keeps them from yellowing, as you can put Clear Bra. There's a product called Clear Bra that you can actually coat the front of the vehicle with. It's a plastic type product. It's like window tint, only clear, that protects paints, headlights, etc. So that's one thing you can do, is you can Clear Bra the lights, which actually helps them from getting stone chips and all of that in it. If you don't want to go to that expense, waxing them, believe it or not, helps immensely.
Oh, interesting.
Just the wax itself will keep the UV from getting into the lens itself, and that's what really makes them turn yellow and cloud up.
Now, if you want to fix it after the fact, don't get the do-it-yourselfer. You actually have to get the professional kit. I don't advise it if you're not handy with tools. But if you've used that, have you used those, Ray?
Yeah, we definitely.
They work okay.
And because you're actually sanding that, and it scares you at first because this thing
you're
looks
sanding
really
the plastic.
Bad. Yeah.
That's right.
And then you're taking that layer off, and
polishing it up.
You're getting down another layer. That works. That's the only thing that works.
What I will tell you, though, and I just personal experience, once a headlamp starts to yellow and cloud up, It's tough, even with the sanding and polishing, etc., to get it back 100% and have it stay that way. You're almost better off to just buy 2 new headlamps from Napa, put them in, start waxing them, and keep them saved that way.
And a lot of that is on the inside, so
right.
even the polishing on the outside. I mean, they'll cloud up on the inside, so that's why more than likely you can't make them better is because it's on the inside of the lens.
But on a new car, first of all, the new cars have gotten better, by the way, Lee, so the new ones are better. The plastic has gotten better, but I'm still one that says put some wax on them every 2 to 3 months, and that helps a bunch.
Definitely will help.
Okay, that clear bra option, is that something that a typical handy person could do?
No, that's all done professionally, with the exception of if you go on the internet, there are some companies that will make pre-cut strips that you can actually put on per application, and putting it on is not that difficult. You need some soapy water and a squeegee and some things to actually get it on, but they're not that expensive. I mean, you can clear bra the whole front of a vehicle, a brand new vehicle, for $250 to $300. So it's not a exorbitant amount of money, especially to protect a new car.
Great. Okay, well, I appreciate the information.
You're very well. And if you need specifics on who does that, Lee, up in our area, up in the Broomfield North area, send me an email. I'll get you somebody up in our area that does a great job. I'll give you a tip on that. So just send me an email, and I'll get that to you.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, Lee, appreciate it very much. And that you can go to drive-radio.com or send me one directly at john@drive-radio.com. We got one line open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Matt, take us away, though, real quick to a break. Guys, stay with us. Andy and Dave, don't go away. We're going to be right back right after these messages here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Do you know how many computers your vehicle has? At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can tell how many there are. If your vehicle is a 1996 or newer, it may have multiple computers. Did you know that car computers need updating just like home or office computers? Arvada West is equipped to update most all vehicle computers. The process usually takes less than an hour and can help your vehicle perform efficiently. From a keyless entry to fuel strategies, this simple procedure can help prevent breakdowns and improve your performance. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck, 303-422-1065. Visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com or stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue, where every question is important.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every auto repair says so much more than, if it's not right, we'll try to fix it again. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty tells me that this is a master mechanic who's confident, who knows what they're doing. I mean, nobody offers a warranty like that, right? Colorado Select Auto Care Centers do, and only the members of Colorado Select offer a warranty this good. Find a mechanic who's a member of Colorado Select Auto Care at coloradoselect.org.
All right, back on air with you. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for everybody that listens and tunes in and calls in. We do appreciate that very much. It helps us. It makes our job a lot easier. So we had somebody...
Still waiting for some ideas for gifts, John.
Yeah, exactly. We need some Father's Day gift ideas. I wanted to mention, somebody called in and wanted to know about the event that we have going on June 28th. That's a free oil change event for single moms. You know, really that's their goal, is to get single moms, elderly ladies, widows, etc. If you know somebody that fits that description, call 720-588-0691, and it's put on by the Men's Ministry of Colorado Ridge Church up north. You can email them at mensministry@coloradoridge.com. I'll say that one more time, Men's Ministry, so men's plural, ministry@coloradoridge.com. And the event will be at DIY Auto Repair Shops on June 28th, and that's at 74th and Federal. So if you want more information about that, by the way, all of that is on our website at drive-radio.com, right under the events page. All the stuff we've got coming up in the very near future is there. I encourage you to look at that, check it out. We've got some car shows going on. We're going to be out at Extreme Automotive for a big garage sale on July 5th. So a lot of stuff going on. Check it out and enjoy. Let's go to Dave, who's up next. Dave, welcome. What's going on?
Hi, this is Dave.
How you doing, Dave?
Oh, pretty good. I got a 1950 Plymouth that's got a 5-cylinder engine in it. I need to get it rebuilt.
Okay.
Anybody that can do the machine work and all that stuff for it.
I know that in town, Ridge Reamer is who's done some of our stuff in the past. I know he's done some stuff for some of the guys in the group, and they're a good, solid shop. That would be my first phone call if it were me.
Do you have their number by any chance?
You know what? I need to get them as a sponsor. I do not have it off the top of my head. Let me see if I can look it up for you.
Yeah, they're in Arvada.
Real quick here.
Because, yeah, they actually did heads on my son's Volkswagen and did a great job.
Yeah, they do a good job. I don't have any issues with them at all. They've done stuff for me, and they are in Arvada, according to what Ray just said, and he's right. The phone number is 303-420-3543. Now, when you call them, make sure you tell them that you heard about them on Drive Radio, and they ought to call me for some sort of sponsorship since I'm helping them out here.
I will do that.
I would appreciate that. That would help us out immensely. But, and they're good guys. By the way, I've known those guys for a long time. They're good guys. They'll help you out.
And they will, if I take them the engine,
they should be able to do everything you need done. Yes.
And then they'll put it back together.
They'll do I believe they're a shop that'll do as little or as much as you want.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dave. We appreciate it very much. Line open, 303-477-5600. And Andy's been holding the longest out in Elizabeth. Andy, welcome. What's going on today?
Hi, I got a 97 Z34 Monte Carlo.
Okay.
And the service engine soon light, it's been on perpetually for the last week or so.
Okay.
And now the last couple of days, the car's died on me several times. Just going to the store and back, just a couple miles.
Is the light still on steady, or is it flashing, or anything along those lines?
Steady, and I put a code reader on it today and got a P0171 code, and looking that up, it gives me about 8 different possibilities. You got any ideas that can narrow that down for me?
Well, the P171, I think, is Bank One Lean. Is that what that code is? So
yeah, basically.
Yeah, so basically it's running too lean, and the computer can't richen it up enough, so it's setting the code. First of all, you want to mainly check for vacuum leaks, both hoses, intake manifold, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's possible you could have a fuel problem if the fuel pump is not putting out the pressure or the volume you need. That can cause a lean condition.
Lack of fuel pressure, right. Misfire on an injector. And you just said there's about 8 possibilities. Yeah, you're probably right on that. There probably is.
Right. So yeah, we need to start isolating it, and try to figure out why that's.
Is that the only code, by the way, that you have?
Yes.
That is the only code. Keep going.
Right. It could be an oxygen sensor that's not working correctly. And giving the computer wrong information. So you really need to get some test equipment in there and start.
What it's telling you is there's a lack of fuel going on in Bank One, is what that really means.
Or the computer thinks there's lack of fuel.
Or thinks there is. That's right. It could if it's a bad oxygen sensor, it could just think that it is, and it could be an O2 sensor. Although if the O2 sensor is working properly, somebody gets a scan tool on it, looks at it, determines, O2 sensor is reading correctly. We've got another issue. That's the difference between diagnosis and throwing parts at the car.
Correct.
So, for example, you go to a local parts store. I won't name names. They plug it in, they look at it, and they're going to say, hey, let's just put an oxygen sensor in this, and away you go. Well, that may or may not fix your problem, and you just spend $150 on an O2 sensor.
Right, because the oxygen sensor should set a code on that, but again, sometimes they don't. That's why you need to test them.
That's right.
Okay.
Does that help you out, Andy?
And I would test it where?
Well, you've got to get to somebody in Elizabeth. Go over to Extreme over in Parker. So talk to Extreme. Dennis and the guys over there, Extreme Auto Repair. They're on Dransfeld Road. They're great GM techs, by the way. Dennis, the owner, ran a GM dealership, the shop side of it, for a very long time, so he's very, very familiar with those vehicles. Pop in there. He'll know exactly what to do.
Okay.
Okay? Thanks, Andy. Appreciate the phone call. And I think Ron is up next in Thornton. Ron, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, good morning. My wife and I bought a 2014 Kia Forte.
Good for you.
And so I have a few questions on it about it. First of all, I was looking up what kind of what octane I should use in it. And it looked like it had like a math problem to figure out. And then it said no less than 91 octane. Does that sound right? Or
if it says no less than 91, that would mean 89 at our elevation.
Do we need 89?
Correct.
Do we have 89?
Yeah,
mid-grade.
We have mid-grade. We have 87, 89, and 91 here in Colorado.
So 89 then.
Correct. If it's calling for 91, you can go 2 steps lower. So make sure, this is for everybody else that are listening. This is a good topic, by the way, Ron. So anybody out there, if you open the lid on, and by the way, 90% of the time, if you open the lid on the gas cap, the gas door, it'll tell you on the inside if there's a requirement for a mid or premium grade fuel. It typically tells you right on the inside of that lid what you're supposed to run. So for example, if it says, hey, I need 91 octane, in Colorado you can run 89. If it said I need 93 octane, in Colorado you'd want to run premium or run 91 octane. So we're always 2 notches lower here in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And my next question is on it tells you what kind of oil to use, but it's all mumble jumble to me. The only thing I can remember is, I don't have it right in front of me, it said use G4. I don't know what G4
GL4
means.
probably.
Yeah. But on the maintenance schedule, it says it's good for 7,500 or 12 months. Does that sound right?
Could be.
The whole year?
Yeah, no, that could very well be. And there will be inside of there a starburst with a specific weight that you need to run in that vehicle, and that will be in your owner's manual for sure. That I can guarantee you. It may be hard to find, but it's there.
You mean on the viscosity?
Yeah, exactly. It'll tell you the viscosity and the API specs, for the 2014s, we all know it. If there's anything specific, it'll tell you in there anyways. But what you're looking for is what weight oil you need to run in that. And I would run a full synthetic in it. If it's not requiring it, I would.
Yeah, if you're going to 7,500 miles,
It's probably going to require it anyways.
That's probably a 020 or something like that.
Right.
That is a full synthetic oil.
Yeah, and the viscosity they recommended said 520. Does that sound right?
Okay, so it'll be a 520 full synthetic more than likely.
Okay. Then it's just one more question. I'm kind of doing this backwards. Did I don't know if you reviewed the Kias now.
Yes, I am. I've not done a Forte yet, but I've done some of the other Kias, and honestly, I have been surprisingly. I have been surprised, I guess is maybe the best way for me to say that. I've been pleasantly surprised is the words I was looking for with the late model Kias. They are much better than they were even, say, 5 years ago.
Okay, that's what I was trying to, because it was money and warranty.
Yep.
I thought, well, seeing the two of them, it sounds like a pretty good deal, but then I never really did.
No, they've been a good vehicle. I've in fact, some of the vehicles I have given some really great reviews on because they have really, for the money, it's tough to beat what they're offering, and I'm saying that wholeheartedly. I really do. I'm not just saying that because they let me drive a car. I mean, I'm very critical of cars that need to be critical of, and ones that work great, I'm very praising of. So yeah, I've got nothing bad right now to say about Kia.
Oh, great. All right, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Happy Father's Day to all
You too, Ron. Thank you so much. You enjoy your afternoon, enjoy your day tomorrow, and let's go to Eric, who's up next. One line open, 303-477-5600. Eric, what's going on today?
Hey, guys. I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at buying a set of factory service manuals for my car, so I realized it's $300 for a set of, I think it's 3 books.
If you buy printed ones, they're very expensive.
Yeah, and that's somebody suggested about the all data DIY thing because it's like $50 for 5 years.
You can actually, and on our website, if you go to the resource page, there's a link there, and I'm going there right now. There's a link there to, let me look here real quick. It's electronic repair manuals. I've got a link right on our website. If you click on that, it takes you to Mitchell One's consumer website, and you can buy whatever you need specifically for your vehicle, and it's much less money than what you just mentioned. You can do 1 month for $16.99, 1 year for $25 or 4 years for $40.
Okay. The other question I've got is, who in the group is going to be the absolute best when it comes to electrical?
On what kind of vehicle?
Okay, I got a Wild Hair, and on my wife's 2013 Buick that we bought, it does not have nav. I found a source where I can buy basically the entire nav setup, and it's plug and play, but they do recommend professional installation.
Go see Dorsey over at Arvada West.
Okay.
Just knowing where I know enough about where you live, where you're at, etc. Go see Dorsey at Arvada West, and he can help you with that.
Okay.
Yep, and that'd be no problem for him to do that at all.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, Eric. Thank you very much. Let's go to... Actually, let's take a quick break. We got a line open. 303-477-5600. Great questions, by the way. Ray and Loveland, you've got an e-test question. Hang with us. We'll be back right after these messages. Matt, take it away. John Rush, KLZ 560, The Source.
You can't change a tattoo from Tracy to Stacy for $20.99, and you can't change that viral video of you at the company party for just $20.99. But you can change your oil. Right now, get 5 quarts of Pennzoil conventional oil in a Napa silver filter for just $20.99. Conquer the job. That's Napa know-how. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/3/14.
Ah, summer. A time of fun, sun, high temperatures, and the ultimate family road trip. Before embarking on the ultimate family adventure, bring your vehicle over to Fort Collins 4x4 Center for a little TLC. Our summer maintenance inspection includes pressure testing your air conditioning system, checking your coolant levels and tire pressure, testing your battery, inspecting your hoses and belts for cracks, cuts, and bulges, testing your transmission, power steering, and brake fluids. Having your vehicle inspected before a long road trip can keep you on the road, not stuck beside it during your vacation. Fort Collins 4x4 is under new ownership as of January 2014. Stop by and see what's new. Located a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock, we are open to serve you Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30 p.m. with shuttle service and after-hours drop. Give us a call at 970-482-5500. Follow us on Facebook or check us out at FortCollins4x4.com.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it very much. We've got an email question that we'll answer in just a second. Actually, 2 of them. I'll try to get both those in if we can. By the way, those are great ways to do that. We can do lots of research on it before we actually bring that question up. It helps us out a lot. If you want to do that, send us an email, John, John, at drive-radio.com. We'll get those questions answered for you as quickly as we can. Ray and Loveland, what's going on?
Good morning, John. Hey, got a car that's been stored for the winter. I always do an oil change when I bring it out for the season, but it's also due for an emission test. I've heard you guys talk. It's not a good thing to have a fresh oil change when you go in. How many miles or how much driving should I do before I run it by the emission station?
What car is it? Let's ask that first.
It's a 01 Viper.
I don't think on that one with the cats and stuff they had in 01 it's that big of a deal. The later model cars it's a bigger issue on, but on that car I don't think it's going to be a big problem either way.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say change it and put some you're going to run synthetic in that V10 anyways. Right. Put synthetic in it and go take it over and get it tested.
Right. I say he needs to put some miles on it. Just drive it over here. Let me do that for you, and then we'll make sure it passes emissions.
Yeah, and it would be a good idea to drive enough to get fresh gas.
Yes, it is. Yeah, by all means, yes.
Go out on the highway and get it warmed up real good. And
I'd probably put a tank of fuel through it if it were me before you get it e-tested. How far away are you from having to have it before your plates expire?
The end of this month, so I don't have a lot of time.
No, you don't. So, I'd put a tank in it, and in your case, that it may take you a little bit of driving to do that. But even if you got a half a tank of good fuel in it, topped it off with some good premium, you'd be fine.
Yeah, it's just to get out on the highway so the evap runs and gets all that vapors out.
And believe it or not, that car is actually pretty clean anyway, so you're not going to have any real issues.
Yeah. And it doesn't take long to go through a tank of fuel.
Not in that one, it doesn't. No, what's it get, about 10 or 11 miles a gallon?
Yeah, on the highway, actually, I can get over 20 on the highway.
Yeah.
If I'm just doing
You're just cruising along?
Yeah.
If you're being good.
Those are great cars, by the way. Congratulations.
Yeah, and I love their carbon footprint, by the way.
No, that awesome car. So how many miles do you have on it, Ray?
It's a 2001. It's got 30,000 on it.
Ah, good for you. Yeah, that's
I've only
great.
owned it for a couple years, so you know.
What a great car. Have fun. That's a great Father's Day gift, by the way. So
that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
Here, I'll get the miles.
That's
put on it
awesome,
for you.
Ray.
It's a lot of fun to drive. I do have a second question.
Sure.
if you got time.
Go ahead.
Getting ready to take a cross-country trip with this car, a lot of times I use BG44. Would you do that on a long trip, or would that maybe be bad?
I wouldn't mess with it on the long trip. At 30K, knowing how you're driving it, you're going to run premium fuel in it all the time anyways.
Okay.
I think maybe if it were me, what I would do is as you get back from that trip, you know you're going to put it in storage in a month or two, put some 44K in it then, let it run around, you know, in town, etc. I'd do it more that way than just sticking it in for the long trip. That's my recommendation.
But you don't want to leave it sit with 44K.
I would not leave it over the winter with 44K in it, no.
Okay. All right.
And make sure, and by the way, this is just for you and other guys that are storing cars. I'm trying to get a bottle in my hand. I haven't yet, but I know it's a good product. The new Stable 360 product is a great product for winter storage for guys like you. It will treat all of the inside of the fuel system, the tank, etc. And if you happen to even get any extra, it's supposed to be E10 all the time, but let's say you had an E12 or an E15 by chance, something got in there along those lines, it helps dissipate all of that and still protect the system.
Good for motorcycles.
Yeah, it works very well.
So you feel this is better than Seafoam, because I currently use Seafoam.
I think the new product with the Stable 360 is a better product than the Stable than the Seafoam when it comes to winter storage. Yes.
Gotcha. Guys, really appreciate your time, and you guys have a happy Father's Day.
You do the same, Ray. Thanks so much for your phone call. And okay, so we've got a question that came in via email. I'm pointing to Alan over here because this is for him.
Whoa.
Would you ask Alan to describe how AC systems work with the way they cycle? When I'm driving along, I can feel the compressor kick on and off with the corresponding drop in temperatures out of the vents. Why couldn't the compressor just run continuously and keep the temperatures coming out of the vent at its coldest? Second question is kind of along the same lines. Does the AC system have a temperature sensor, so if you're in the dead of winter and the ambient air is 20 degrees, does the compressor not cycle as much? So there's your question.
You're going to jump in and help me here in just a second.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to mention, different than when you were bringing up the 1890s and we were just getting into refrigeration, we now use the AC system to defrost.
Right.
And defog. So with that said, I'll let you jump in.
Yeah, I'm just saying, let's answer the second question first. They definitely have a ambient temperature switch in most systems that won't allow that compressor to come on when it's real cold if there can be damage to it. So yes, it does shut the compressor off when the temperature is too cold. But like Alan was saying, the reason they turn the air conditioner on, it actually takes the moisture out of the air with the air conditioner and helps defrost the windows faster.
Very helpful in Missouri, where you have 90% humidity.
Anytime there's high humidity, it helps.
I guess I lost my train of thought, but there are some compressors, as you may know, that they run continuously. They have their variable displacements, and they just change the displacement or the pitch of that wobble plate, so the compressor is always running. Therefore, we never have a flooded issue with liquid refrigerant, so it's always running.
And by the way, most late model systems are made that way, but the earlier systems, Mike, they're gonna cycle on and off. There's really not much you can do about it. That's just the way those systems were made. No different than the old boxed AC units that go in the window. You'd be next to one of those and hear it cycle on and off, and it would get colder and then warm up a little, then get colder. It's exactly the same principle going on inside the vehicle.
Right.
They work better when they're warmer, obviously.
Right.
But their protection devices are on there to keep them from destroying themselves.
Right. What they do in that system, they actually use what they call a fixed orifice, so you have the maximum or the maximum efficiency on the air conditioner. So if the compressor ran all the time, it's going to get so cold that it'll start freezing up.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what they're doing is they're turning that compressor off
because the evaporator is inefficient if it's a block of ice.
Right. So they turn it off, it'll warm it up so it'll defrost, then they turn it on. So by cycling that compressor off
Keeps
and
it
on,
from freezing.
you're keeping the maximum temperature efficiency.
What kind of vehicle was this?
It didn't say.
Okay, because even though the orifice tubes are fixed, we do have something that works pretty good in Phoenix and Dallas. Haven't really tried it here. Sometimes there's some cooling issues, or I should say AC issues, so we can use a variable displacement, maybe a variable orifice tube.
Right.
And that seems to help on some of those like minivans where we had the dual evaps, and you'd flood the rear evaporator, and then it was a real hot day, and so not as much refrigerant was in the front part of the unit. It would allow that to compensate for that.
And again, there is systems that do run the compressor all the time. So they'll come on and they stay on, and how they regulate the temperature is they use an expansion valve or a variable orifice, and they actually open the flow and close the flow to keep the maximum temperature that way. And they just, so they're depending on what type of
different
system
systems and different components for those systems, depending on, could be electric.
But in most cases, you're going to see a system vary, a little bit in temperature. Now, I will say this. In fact, the cars I'm driving, this Lexus out here, for example, as I drive that car, you don't feel the fluctuation in temperature like you used to, because they're modernizing the system so much that they've got it so much more technical.
You don't even hear it cycle.
Yeah, you don't even feel the temperature changes hardly from what it used to be. But some of the older, I've got some older pickup trucks even in my fleet, et cetera. Yeah, you can feel those things cycle on and off. The temperature changes, and that's just the design of that system, and there's really nothing you can do to change that.
And like if this was reason I was asking the older vehicles, I mean, they drew so much horsepower on the compressor, you could actually feel it engage. So now
you don't feel that anymore.
You don't feel it anymore.
That's right. That's exactly right.
They might not be a piston driven; it's a vane or some other form. So,
that's right.
Squirrel.
All right, we've got some other questions. I'll answer them, I think, as soon as we come back. We've only got a couple of minutes left before we go to this next news time. I've got a question coming in from Jose on a 2006 500. We'll get to that. By the way, lines are open. Call us. We'll get you right on before the top of the hour. We'll get you right as soon as we come back from the break. 303-477-5600 is our number. Father's Day gifts, questions, comments. One thing that that never really happens much on the show. If you don't agree with something we say, say so. We're not always 100% right. We do our best to be right, but sometimes we're not. If we've said something that's inaccurate or wrong, hey, you're free to call in and disagree or set us straight. It doesn't happen a lot, but if you've got something that you want to add or change or whatever, that's fine. Feel free. 303-477-5600. That's our phone number. One thing I wanted to talk about when we came back also is, and I didn't get a chance to do it yet, was the 40 mile per gallon club. And I wanted to mention that because there's a lot of vehicles today that will get the kind of fuel economy we were getting out of hybrids, several years ago, without having to spend the money and have the hassle of owning the hybrid with the batteries and all of those sorts of things. So I'm not knocking the hybrids. I'm just saying there are alternatives to that whereby you don't have to spend the kind of money that you would on a hybrid and still get the same results and be in that 40 mile per gallon range. Does that all make sense, guys?
Yeah.
And it's going to surprise you what some of these vehicles are. So I'll tease you a little bit. There's more vehicles in it than you think, and some you're going to be surprised at. And by the way, I should finish up the review on this Lexus I'm driving. Almost 31 miles to the gallon I'm getting on the highway. Car runs fantastic, works well. I'll get you a price on it in just a minute, but that car is very well equipped, full leather, nice size sedan, good size trunk. That ES car, by the way, is a great value and works fantastic. And you can say all you want about Toyota and all the different things that they've done in the past, etc., but there's a reason why they're the #1 manufacturer in the world right now, because they build some fantastic products. That's all I'm going to say about that. So it really does work. So with that, let's take a quick break. We'll come back from the news, finish up one more hour of Drive Radio left. Be sure to get your calls in early because this hour will go by fast. Call us now, 303-477-5600. Matt, take us away. We'll be back right after the news. Don't go away. Drive Radio, John Rush, your host, AM 560, KLZ, The Source.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
The history of the American flag is as rich and diverse as the history of the nation it represents. It has been displayed in one-room schoolhouses and is waved in triumph on the surface of the moon. It has been sprinkled in pieces near the North Pole. It has covered the caskets of thousands of brave military men and women. And every June 14th, on Flag Day, it hangs proudly on front porches across the United States. On June 14, 1777, the Continental Congress passed the following resolution: that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternate red and white. That the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. The Congress detailed the meaning of the colors, writing that white signifies purity and innocence, red, hardiness and valor. Blue signifies vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Over the years, the flag has changed 26 times to accommodate the additions of new stars. For the past 230 years, it has represented our nation and served as a symbol of freedom and valor. It embodies what is best about America. Thus, long may it wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com. Since 1922, KLZ Denver.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Ken Stevens. Iraq civil war and what you pay for gas. Crude prices are higher because of the fighting, and speculators are watching what happens since it's taking place in key oil-producing areas. S&P Capital IQ Equity Research Director Stuart Glickman telling the Wall Street Journal,
the markets tend to get a little bit skittish when you have potential threats to what happens to be a fairly major supplier of crude oil to the global market.
The pace at which al-Qaeda terrorists are moving in Iraq, catching the Obama administration off guard. The Blaze Radio's Tom Peace.
Conservative commentator Charles Krauthammer says the administration is ignoring intel. From the Kelly File on Fox News.
Why did the administration ignore the intelligence reports? Because this president has been preaching for 2 years now, at least, especially in the election year of 2012, the tide of war is receding, which is completely false.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
The Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560 The Source.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
What's this?
The Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing would be 4 degrees before tap dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, thanks for listening. Last hour of Drive Radio. And I always tell the guys when they're here and they agree, it's the fastest 3 hours of our week, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. It just is. Just zips by. Matt's always laughing at me, too, even during the week. It's a good time. We enjoy all the callers and all the fun and appreciate it, and that's what we're here for. So it's an enjoyable time. So you guys wanted to finish up with that last question that we had, even on the AC side of the fence, because you also had a couple of other things you were thinking of through the break.
Yeah,
what are they?
Alan and I were kind of discussing that, and well, we were concerned or wondered if that actually compressor turning off and on could actually be an undercharged system or it's short cycling. So if your air conditioner is not cooling effectively, it might be low on charge. That's why that compressor is short cycling more than it should be.
So yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a question on that particular function of that or just how it functioned. So we're talking about that.
Right. Then also you mentioned something on the GMs. They actually can, if the blend doors aren't working correctly, it can bleed the hot air from the heater core into there, and that could also make that temperature raise when you're sitting at stops or.
Monte Carlos had those issues with when they first were playing around with the dual side system,
right?
And you because the way the core was sitting in there and the air blowing across via the duct works.
So yeah, we just wanted to clarify that if it is really short cycling, it might be low on charge.
Got it. All right. So let's answer this next question, and we'll go to the emails next. I got 2 more email questions that have come in. By the way, you can email me. We'll get those answered to you as quickly as we can, or answered for you as quickly as we can. John, JOHN, at drive-radio.com. Give us a call, and we'll get you right on air. Let's go to, or send me an email, and I'll answer the question on air is what I meant to say. Jeff is on air with us. Jeff, welcome. What's going on today?
Oh, I've got a 98 Jeep Cherokee, and it's got that death wobble going on. I put in a new steering stabilizer.
And it's a small Cherokee, not a Grand?
Yeah, it's a small Cherokee. Okay. And the wheel bearings seem to be okay.
Yeah, and that won't cause death wobble anyways. What you have to look for on those vehicles is you've got to look very, very closely at, number one, track bar, and make sure that not only is the track bar itself in good shape, but the mount up on the driver's side frame is also in good shape. That mount is replaceable, so you want to make sure there's no slop in that track bar at all. You want to make sure tie rod ends, of course, are in great shape. All the steering components is what I'm getting at there. And another thing that you got to watch on those is also the control arms that go from the axle back to the unibody itself.
Okay. Does the ball joints have anything to do with it at all?
It can, but typically not on a death wobble case.
And make sure the tires are in good shape, too.
Yes.
If you get really worn tires, sometimes that can add to it.
Great. Yep.
Just make it worse, huh?
Yes, sir.
It compounds the problem. I mean, and here's the deal. Putting new tires on it, if that is the case, it may fix it, but you've masked the problem. The problem's still there, and it'll come back unless you fix the real problem.
Really? Yeah.
Okay. I've got this thing up on jack stands with my son's Jeep, and which one would you do first? I was looking at that track bar.
Well, and by the way, all of what I'm talking about should be checked on the ground, level, engine running, using the power steering, parking brake on, in park, somebody sits in the driver's seat and runs the wheel back and forth, lock to lock, and somebody's underneath the front checking to see what's loose. That's the only way to really check that.
And there could be just a little bit of wear in each component. When you add it all up, that's where your death wobble comes from.
Okay, I'll take a look. I thought you were supposed to put it up on jack stands. But
well, once you start working on it, yes, that'd be the way to do it. But to check steering components and see if there's any slop, you want the stress of the system in place, or the stress on all the components in place, so as you rock the vehicle back and forth with the wheel, you can see then where some of the play is in those components.
Again, if you have it up in the air, you can tell one that's a real bad failure. One that has a lot of play, you can be able to get it that way. But for the
you won't see the small ones.
The small increments, you got to have it on the ground.
That's right.
Okay, on that specific unit, would you recommend putting in those Grand Cherokee tie rods, or they're a little beefier?
Only if you've got excess, extra size. I shouldn't say. I can't talk. Only if you have oversized tires, lift kit, things like that, and you've put bigger tires on it, then you might want to look at an upgrade. Otherwise, I don't think it's necessary.
For the price.
Oh, okay. Been a lot of help.
All right. Appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon and happy Father's Day. And, okay, next question that came in, guys, via email was on power steering. The title is Power Steering Groans.
Okay.
2006 Ford 500 with 120,000 miles. Power steering groans when it's hot. The slightest turn, it'll make this groaning noise. It does not exist when the engine cools. Power steering is full. Can't talk. Power steering is full. Has never been drained, though. And this has been going on for about a year, and it's worse with the hotter weather. So, suggestions. I have my own, but what do you guys think?
Well, the first thing, if the fluid's never been changed, you definitely want to change the fluid first.
Thank you. Yes.
That's where I would start.
And by the way, to Ray's point, one of the things that gets missed and missed and missed all of the time, two things in my opinion that get overlooked a lot, is power steering fluid and brake fluid.
Yes.
Because they're not easy to flush. In fact, some power steerings, a lot of, and not pointing fingers, but you'll get a lot of shops, Quick Lubes, etc., that'll look at that. They know it needs flushed. Yeah, it's full, Mr. Jones or Mr. Smith. It looks really good. Well, the reality is it probably needs flushed and changed, but it's a bear to do, so they just kind of skim it across and off it goes because nobody wants to mess with doing that particular vehicle.
Again, and a lot of the power steering and the brake fluid are usually not listed in the maintenance schedules.
That's right.
They don't give you a time or whatever.
But they have a lifespan, just like any other fluid does.
Fluids, they wear out.
That's exactly right.
The other thing that we found on Fords, if it has the external reservoir, there's actually a screen in there. If that screen gets restricted, then it pulls bubbles and cavitates. So you need to make sure that you inspect that reservoir, and sometimes you can clean them, but normally you have to replace that reservoir.
Another thing that we have found in our fleet on the Fords, by the way, is we found that not only does changing out fluid help immensely, but there's actually, BG makes a power steering conditioner that on a lot of the Fords works very, very well to keep the spool valves freed up, etc. So on that Ford, I would recommend a full flush and some BG conditioner in it at the same time, and then see what happens. That's what I would do. So Ray's on the same track with me, so that's where I would head with that one. Let's go to Lou in Greenwood Village, who is next. Lou, what's going on today?
Yes, I'm looking at a 1999 Acura 3.0 CL, and the Internet tells me that there's a significant number of people who got on there and say that they've had problems with the transmissions being no good and needing to replace. And I know that's not scientific or anything, and that the squeaking wheel makes all the noise. And I was wondering if you know whether that's worth being wary of or not.
For the Acuras, we really haven't had a lot of transmission problems. So I don't know where they're coming from on that. Again, one that you might check with is our resident transmission guy, Jeff at Larry's Automotive. Maybe give him a call on Monday and chat with him, because I said he does the transmissions for a living, and he'll be able to give you a better idea on how solid or if there is problems with that transmission.
What kind of miles and what's the condition of the car you're looking at? That's the other thing I would always look at. That's the number one thing I look at.
46,000 miles.
Okay.
And condition is very, very good.
Okay.
Apparently. So
yeah, I don't think I'd worry about. I mean, I'd get a good pre-purchase inspection done on it regardless. Have somebody look at it, make sure fluids are in good shape, and everything else is up to speed like it needs to be. But I'm with Ray. I just top my head. I haven't heard too many. And keep in mind, this is one thing to remember, and this is a great topic, by the way. So when you go out and read stuff on a forum, and not saying that all forums are bad, there's some really good ones out there, but there's some really crummy ones too. And you got to realize, I don't know I'd have to go back and look at the specs to see how many 99 Acura CLs were made, but let's say they made, 300,000 of them. I have no idea what they made, but let's say it's 300,000 of them. And you go to some review site, and there's 15 people that have complained about them. Well, okay, that's still a pretty low ratio compared to the 300,000 that were made. So, everything has to kind of be put in perspective, and one of the things I would look at is just how many of them did they make in general, compared to who's complaining about it, because that's always a good indication also.
I hear that. Can I have a phone number for Larry, please?
You sure can. You know what? I'm just going to put you on hold and let him do that. He's right on the other side of the glass, so I'll pop you on hold, and Larry will take care. Oh, shoot. Sorry. I hit the wrong button. Lou, call us back. As soon as you do, Larry will pick up the phone, give you all the information that you need. I apologize. I'm so used to hitting one button that I dropped you. Call back. We'll get you right on. Larry will handle that question for you. He's got all the information. Not a problem. By the way, you can find any one of our members, any one of our sponsors also. You can go to drive-radio.com for the radio show sponsors. And all of our group members, so everybody that's a member of Colorado Select, you go to coloradoselect.com. Everybody's there. They're listed. You can do it by zip code, alphabetical order, however you want. Everybody's there. Phone numbers, emails, you name it. Very, very easy, quick way to find somebody to help you out with your vehicle. So Dave from Denver, hang with us. You've got a question on a 93 Buick. We've got a line open, 303-477-5600. Matt, take it away. We'll be right back after these messages. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each Colorado Select member currently offers Napa's Peace of Mind warranty, but are now also offering an extended 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty on repair work. You won't find this offer anywhere else. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-6272.
They have names like Joe, Bob, or Uncle Ryan. But to you, they're moochers. They borrow your tools and promise to return them someday. But someday isn't a day. Tell them they can get their own 7-piece ratcheting gear wrench set at Napa for $29.99, which you'll borrow and return someday. Conquer the job. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at ginosautoservice.com. That's ginosautoservice.com.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable
What did you say?
has got the answer to the mess. Just visit KN Filter.
Yes, that is a good thing.
Pull identification number off your dashboard or car registration.
And I have to agree with Larry for a Father's Day present, peace and quiet.
The filter that helps your car run better.
Oh, yeah.
All right, nice intro music there, Matt. Appreciate that. Matt, our engineer, doing a great job. Took Zach's place a while back. Zach, if you're listening, we miss you, but Matt's doing a great job filling in for you, so we appreciate that, and he does it every week. And actually, I see Matt every day, so it's like 6 days a week. I think I see Matt more than my own wife. So anyways, it's getting to be a habit here lately. But anyways, if you like what we hear here, by the way, listen to our show during the week, Rush to Reason. I'm on every day, 2 to 3 p.m., and that goes with all of the other KLZ programming. I actually got some really nice emails from some folks this week after we've been talking about some of the other programming on KLZ, etc. I got some really exceptionally nice emails from some folks saying, hey, you know what, yeah, KLZ does have some great programming, and I found the station. I don't have to be flipping around the dial, listening to all this other stuff. I'll just stay there, and you know what? That's what we want. That works well. It helps us, it helps you, and it's a great deal, so we appreciate that very much. So let's go to Dave, who's up next. Got a 93 Buick. Dave, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, gentlemen. I want to know if what I'm seeing is a warning sign of some problem or just a sign it's an old car.
Okay.
Okay, when I look at the oil gauge and I'm driving along the highway, well, the oil pressure stays right on 40. Not a problem. When I basically pull up to like a light or a stop sign or something and the car idles, as it idles, that gauge will just pop up. And sometimes it pops up all the way to almost really peg it on the high end. And is this something I should be worried about, or it could just be a bad sensor in the engine judging the oil pressure, or what's going on in your guess?
Ray,
yeah. To me, being it's popping up instantly or doing that, I would say more likely in the sender or the gauge, there's probably an electrical problem. Normally, your oil pressure is not going to go that instant. I mean, it's going to take a while to build up, and if it went up that high, it's going to stay up that high because it'd be a restriction or something in the oiling system of the engine. So I would suspect a electrical problem either in the gauge itself or maybe the sender. And being it's popping up, I would kind of lean towards the gauge myself.
Okay. Well, very good. I just didn't want to know if I was looking at the disaster here, but it.
And by the way, that was not uncommon on a '93 Buick to have what you're encountering.
Oh, okay.
Weird gauges, yeah.
Yeah, where you've got either a sender issue or a gauge issue or something along those. That was pretty common back in those days.
And again, if you haven't replaced the sender in a long period of time, I would start with a sender. They're relatively inexpensive. That's a good, first step, and that might take care of your problem.
Excellent, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for calling us. We do appreciate it very much. I also had another email that came in from a high performance driver. So this guy's got Kurt's got out in Fort Morgan's got a 2014 Ford Shelby GT500, very nice car by the way. Wanted to know what brake pads to put back on it. He's a cruiser mostly, but he's enjoyed a couple of road courses as well. Would like to do a couple more this summer, just for fun, not competition. I already emailed back and said, you know what, guys, and see what you guys think. But I'd go back to the OEM, especially on a high-performance car. I think that came with either a Brembo or a Bear-type high-performance brake pad from the factory. Brake caliper, etc. I'd go back to whatever it had on it originally, and that's just my own. Not to not sell Napa or something along those lines, but I'd go back to the OE equipment on that one if it were me.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, John.
Just because of the type of car that it is.
Because I don't know if the the Napa AEO pads, if they'd actually make one for that specific application, because there would be a limited number.
Right.
For mass producing, it might be hard.
And that's a very specialized car, very specialized high performance brake. So Kurt, if you're listening, I sent you an email also, but I'd go back to what it had.
That would be the best because you're getting the pads that the car is designed for.
It's exactly, yeah, and in that particular case, it really is designed for that, even more so than just a regular passenger car. So let's go to Dennis in Thornton, who's up next. By the way, the line open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Dennis, welcome. What's going on today? Hello, Dennis. Dennis, are you there? Well,
he's trying to catch.
He's trying. Let's put him back on hold. Larry, see if you can figure out whether Dennis is actually there or not. If he is, then we'll grab him. If not, we'll keep moving right along. Not a big deal either way. So, guys, anything else you wanted to finish up on before I get to the 40 mile per gallon club? Anything else on the AC side of the fence you guys want to finish up on? We haven't had time to talk about.
No, I mean,
anything else? Let me ask this, as devil's advocate. Anything else somebody needs to do this time of year, maintenance-wise, on AC, or is there any AC maintenance to do?
Well, I mentioned the cabin air filters. Like I said, I don't have a dog in the filter fight, but I think it's a good idea to check that. And I've got the one little product that do-it-yourselfers can use to take the odor out. Other than that, I'm suggesting take it to a shop, one of our shops, obviously, to do it correctly, because it's going to save you money in the long run. That's my opinion.
Right, and the easiest way to actually test the air conditioner is with a thermometer or temp gauge, or and see what the temperatures actually are.
Which, by the way, we talked about this last week. You can do that yourself if you've got a good digital probe, meat probe, anything along those lines. Go out, drive the car, put it on max recirculate AC, figure out how cold it's actually getting. And if it's with R134, which is all basically 96 and newer, which is pretty much everything on the road today, if it's getting around 42 degrees or so, guess what? You're doing great. It's working fine.
Yeah, definitely. Again, it might not get that 42 when it's 195 out. It might be 50, 52. But again, it's kind of the difference of temperature.
That's right.
If you go from 92 to 50, you're 40 degrees.
That's
so
right.
that's
Airflow across the condenser to actually bring that temperature.
And the cooler the air, the cooler, the better it works. The less exchange has to happen, and the bigger variation. Just not say a bigger variation, but you're starting at a cooler mark to cool down to, which makes it work.
Right.
That's why on really, really hot days, you'll notice yourself running your AC at a higher level than you typically would, because there's not as it's a higher temperature coming out of the vents, just because of what Ray just said.
The temperature drop is only so much that it can do.
All right, let's see if we got Dennis back now. Dennis, welcome. Are you still there?
Yes.
There we go. What's going on today?
Okay, I got a 2000 Jeep Liberty, 2008, and I'm wondering when do I replace the shocks and the struts? Because I looked in my manual and there's nothing that indicates a time limit on it.
No, there's not. And so right now you're at 6, almost 7 years of age, and how many miles do you have?
41,000.
So not a lot in miles, but you're up there in age, which age on the shocks isn't as big of a bother as the actual miles, because think of this. Every time that shock or that strut goes up and down, the oil that's inside of the reservoir is pushing through a hole, and we all know the fluid dynamics and what happens. So over time, as that oil runs in and out of that hole, over time it makes the hole bigger. Just natural effect. Doesn't matter whether we had water, oil, etc. That's what happens. So over time it wears out. Now, at 41K, if the vehicle is handling well, driving well, you don't have any tire wear, you don't have any ride quality issues, you're probably okay still with the factory stuff just because of the mileage. If there's any concerns about anything I just said, then it's time to go ahead and put shocks and struts on it.
Okay, does that have both shocks and struts, or just one or the other?
I think that's got struts in the front and shocks in the rear, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't worked on an 08 for a while. I owned one, but it's been a long time since I did, and I think it's struts front, shocks rear.
Okay, yeah, it's still riding pretty good, so I'm probably okay. I just didn't know if there was a time limit on it.
There's not on those. That's one of those things that it's kind of like a steering component. You know, it's more mileage related than it is age related, because if it's sitting if it's sitting still at home in a garage or whatever, it's just not getting any use on it.
All right, appreciate your help.
You're very welcome, Dennis. Thanks so much for the call. And by the way, great question. We don't get those kind of questions very often because most folks drive more than what Dennis has. But yeah, 40,000 miles on an 08 is not very many.
Oh, that's real.
What's he doing? 5,000 a year or so, roughly?
Yeah,
a little bit over 6,000 miles a year, roughly.
I went to public school. I can't do the math.
Sorry. I think around 6 a year is where he's at. So that's pretty low. So yeah, in that case, that's not a lot of miles, and that'll make that vehicle last a really, really long time. So all right, let's see if we've got any more emails that have come in, and we do. We have one more. So Joe is asking. By the way, line's open. 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. So Joe up in Burns, Wyoming is asking. He's got an 86 GMC S15 truck. So, the S15 High Sierra trucks, you know what I'm talking about, guys.
Yep.
And it's a drivetrain question. I was going from Cheyenne to Laramie over the hill when an 18-wheeler cut me off. I braked and downshifted, 5-speed manual, four-wheel drive. Now I have a squeal when I'm in overdrive. I had the throwout bearing replaced just about a year ago, so I don't think that's it. Any other ideas? So he's got a squeal coming out of the transmission ever since he did a downshift and a hard brake when somebody pulled out in front of him on an 86 S15 truck. And it's only in overdrive that he's got the squeal.
Really?
Which is interesting, that it's only in overdrive that there's a squeal there.
Direct to direct, yeah.
Well, because it's actually overdriving it at that point. So Joe, if you're listening, when you're in overdrive, the overdrive unit, it's hard to explain, there's not an overdrive unit. The gear for the overdrive is at the very, very back end of the transmission, and believe it or not, is the last one to get lubricated because the way that the transmission is designed. You could have a bearing that's getting close to going out. I doubt if it's anything in the clutch, and if you don't have any noise with your foot off of the clutch, I doubt if it's a throwout bearing. Although I believe that one has a throwout bearing that rides all the time because it's hydraulic. Correct?
I believe
you drive one, don't you?
Nope.
No, yours is later than that, right?
Yeah, mine's
anyways, I think on that 86, I think it's got pressure on it all the time. But if it doesn't change with pushing the clutch in and out, it's probably something inside the transmission itself in the overdrive area of the transmission. Now, first things first, make sure fluid is good and clean. It's an easy, cheap thing on that truck to change out. I would change fluid first and see what happens.
Yeah.
That's my suggestion. And then see what happens from there. Any other ideas?
No, I think you're right on. Nothing's coming.
Okay. All right, let's try that. Now let's go to Mickey, who's up next. By the way, we've got a line open, 303-477-5600. Half an hour left of the show is all. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Mickey's up next. What's going on, Mickey?
Hey, I just thought you might want to know there is an oil filter that tells you when it goes into bypass.
Really? What is it?
Oberg. O-B-E-R-G.
O-B-E-R-G. And how does it do that?
It's got a ball pressure switch so that when it goes into bypass, it presses the ball pressure switch, it lights up a light.
Cool. So it's, and I'm assuming there's a light you're going to have to add on to make that happen because no car comes equipped with that already on it.
Correct. It's an aftermarket universal. Well, they make a bunch of different stuff, and they're looking for distributors. but it's Oberg.com. But most people don't want to pay $150 for
a filter.
Because it's a
It's a system. So then, what does the filter cost after you've already got the system installed?
It filters down to 3 microns.
But is it like a oil sandwich where you sandwich it in there?
Yes.
So it's so you use the same oil filter. It's like you're adding an oil cooler, but this is a
sensor system.
Sensor system.
Not an oil filter.
No. You can get it without the. It's called the Tattletale. They've been around for 20 years. The racers use them a lot.
Okay.
And motorcycles used to use them quite a bit too because there's no better filtration for your oil.
And I'm trying to get, it's actually obergfilters.com. I'm trying to get that to come up, but for some reason I can't get their site to load, but I'll keep investigating that over the weekend. That's a good tip, and I honestly, I've been around this industry for a really long time. I've never heard of them, so that's a great tip.
I typed in Tattletale, a picture of Obama came up. Sorry about that.
Alan.
They went out of business They got sold to CRW for a while, and then they reformed and CRW, and they're back on their own again. But it's a reusable filter. It's a stainless steel mesh screen.
Got it.
Filters down as much as you want. You take the screen out.
Got it.
Clean it out and put it back on.
Well, I will definitely. That is a huge tip. I will definitely investigate that, not just for ourselves. And I've got a fleet shop, so that'd be a huge thing for me, but for our listeners also. So that's a great tip, Mickey. I appreciate that very much.
There's nothing better.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So there we go, guys. Again, we learn as much from our listeners every week as they learn from us. So appreciate that, Mickey, very much. One line open, 303-477-5600. Jeff and Chuck, hang with us. We're going to go to a break real quick. We'll come right back. We'll get you on, and we're running out of time. So give us a call. We'll get you loaded up, 303-477-5600. And we'll be back right after these messages. Drive Radio, John Rush, your host, KLZ 560, The Source.
Have you failed an emissions test and don't know what to do? Have you been trying to fix it yourself? Arvada West is your answer. We score 100% on our success ratio. That's confidence for the customer. We are always willing to explain the repair process to you. We use a proven diagnostic format that we have developed since the emissions program began here in Colorado. For an honest, understandable, and reasonably priced diagnosis, stop by and see us. We've helped clean our Colorado air since 1981. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck 303-422-1065 or see us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. If you would like to stop by to make an appointment, we are at 11752 West 64th Avenue.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in Boulder? At John's 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From big trucks to diesel pickups, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to John's 4x4. Located on Arapahoe Road, just east of 63rd, behind Carpet One. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at John's 4x4 Center are committed to providing the personal and professional service you're looking for. Give them a call at 303-449-2640. Check them out on the web or follow them on Facebook at johns4x4.com.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, we're back. Thanks for tuning in. One line open, 303-477-5600. One thing we do want to get to before we end the show is I do want to get to the 40-mile-per-gallon club. We'll do that in a minute. And Alan's actually got some topics on ATV belts, which you guys make, which I didn't know.
Yeah, I thought I'd throw a plug in since the weather's so nice, and we may not all drive cars all the time. So Napa has a line of ATV belts.
And you also have, which we've talked about, you and I personally, but never on the show, you also carry a full line of lawn and garden tractor belts, lawn mowers, all that kind of stuff.
You.
Good. Very good.
And there are the OE replacement.
They work fine.
And sometimes when you just use maybe like our tiller belt, where maybe it's the right length, but the actual cut, it doesn't sit the pulley right, so it's going to wear prematurely, and then you're not going to be satisfied. So I'm going back to the OE belt. Well, these are actually OE lawnmower belts. I know it's an automotive show, but you said we could talk about it.
No, it works. No, so a lot of you out there that are do-it-yourselfers, etc. Napa's got a full line of lawn and garden, belts, and there's not really any hoses on a lot of that stuff, but filters and oil and all that kind of stuff is available. So you'd be surprised what they carry on that side of the fence. So let's go to Jeff, who's up next. Jeff, welcome. What's going on today?
Howdy.
How you doing?
Better than I deserve.
Good.
I got a friend who had a Nissan. He bought new, an Altima, I think, with a CVT.
Okay.
And they replaced the transmission once and ended up buying the car back because he said that when he was traveling on the road at speed, anywhere from, I guess, 45 on up, it just felt rough. Like the transmission was searching, I think, trying to figure out exactly the right thing.
Okay.
He didn't really have an explanation. But I was just wondering, have the CVTs gotten to a point yet where most of those kind of problems are worked out, or is this something kind of in-depth?
No, they've gotten much better. Jatco is the name of the company. Nissan owns the majority of Jatco. Jatco makes literally all of the CVTs that are on the market today. And as with anything else, there were some problems early on. That was an innovative thing that hadn't been done before. And so when they first came out, yes, there were definitely some issues. But as time has gone by, they've had the ability to refine those. And you're seeing most major manufacturers now using that transmission in at least some version of a car. I'm talking everything from Toyota, Subaru, Nissan, Chevy, Ford's got CVTs. I mean, I can go down the line. Pretty much everybody has, Chrysler, somebody's got a CVT. One of those has a CVT in their lineup somewhere. And even the ones I'm driving now, I just drove a Nissan Rogue last week that actually, great little car, by the way, works fantastic, CVT transmission. And what's happened is they've got them refined even enough now to where they've even engineered through the software and the hydraulics some shift points where you really kind of think the thing's shifting. You know it's a CVT by the way you drive it, etc., but it actually has some soft shift points to make it feel more like a regular transmission. So they're trying to get past some of that that habit that we all have where we think we need to feel a transmission shift, so they're trying to build that into the CVTs now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they work pretty well. I mean, early on, yes, and Nissan, of course, gets the most. How do I want to say this? They get beat up the most because they were they were one of the innovators in that particular area. So they were the ones that kind of went out there, took the hit, decided to try this method. But when I get into this 40-mile-per-gallon club here in just a second, a lot of the vehicles I'm going to mention have CVT transmissions in them.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Appreciate the call, Jeff. Let's go to Chuck, who's up next. Chuck, welcome.
Hi there.
How you doing today?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for calling us.
Good. I've just bought a 69 Jaguar E-Type Roadster.
Okay.
It's been in storage since 1984. The gentleman that had it drained all the fluids out of it and took off the oil pan and the valve covers, but drained all the rest of the fluids out of the brakes and everything. I'm kind of concerned about the engine as far as what I should do before I try and start this thing. Do I need to do something in the way of putting some oil in?
Well, so where does it stand right now? What's the engine in the car look like right now exactly?
It has the oil pan off and the valve covers off.
Okay.
And the radiator out.
Okay.
And that's about it. The exteriors, nothing.
Okay, so first things first, you're going to want to get, of course, the engine button back up again. And was it covered during that time, where dust, dirt, debris couldn't get inside the engine, or did it have?
Yes, it
okay,
was.
so all that was covered up. That's good.
Climate controlled.
Perfect. Okay, so you want to get I'm still not quite sure why you pulled the pan and the covers, but that's beside the point. You need to get that stuff back on it. So get the covers, get the oil pan back on it, fill it up with oil. One thing that you're gonna want to do, at least if it were mine, I would want to. You need to figure out a way to prime the engine. Now, in a lot of the older cars, that involved pulling the distributor, finding a shaft you could put back down in there, turning it with some sort of a drill, and getting the pressure built up before you actually started the vehicle, before you started the engine. Of course, you also want to make sure you get radiator and coolant and all that stuff back in it also, even before you start the engine. Last thing you want to risk is starting it up, having to get warm, and not having any ability to cool it down.
Yeah.
And they do make pressure primers too now, where you can actually put in the oil, like the oil fender, and it's a pressure type unit. You put it under pressure, and it forces oil into the system.
I see.
There's two that's either with the oil pump or with that pressurized.
But bottom line is you want to prime the engine, get some oil back into all of the areas. Now, more than likely, and this is the funny thing about oil, even though it's sat that long, you could pull that engine apart and still find oil on a lot of surfaces. It'll never completely go away. It's the beauty about oil, is it never completely, but in this case where it's had the pan off and it's been exposed, etc., you want to get all that buttoned up, get some good oil in it, prime it, get all the lubrication back in where you need to be, and then fire it up.
I was talking to my mechanic, and he suggested he has an instrument that if you pull the plugs, you can look down in the cylinders.
Yeah. You can.
Would you recommend?
No, you could. I mean, if it's the way you're telling us it is, I doubt if that's even going to be an issue.
Oh, okay.
If somebody cared for it the way you're mentioning, I just don't see that being something I would. Now you could pull the plugs. Once you get oil and everything back in it, you could turn the engine over, make sure there's nothing coming out of it. You could even spray a little bit of WD-40 down in the cylinders, fire it up, etc. But again, if it's climate controlled and it's the way I'm thinking it looks, I don't know that I'd worry a lot about all that.
Okay.
If it had been sitting out in the backyard of somebody's house and since '84 and had gone through all of the seasons, etc., that'd be a whole different ball game. But given it was climate controlled, you're in a different world.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet, Chuck. Appreciate it very much. You want to add anything to that,
I was just
right?
saying, being it sat so long, there's probably going to be a little, carbon or some kind of residue there. But again, it's minimal. It's going to come right off.
Exactly.
But, I would probably, if you're going to go in and pull the plugs out, I'd put, like you said, a little WD-40 light oil just to lubricate everything up a little easier, make it a little easier to turn when it fires up. And in the compression, you'll have a little better compression because of the oil that you put in the cylinders.
Exactly. All right, 40 mile per gallon club. Let's get this brought up here if I can find it. I had too many things on my screen this morning. So here we go. Here's a few of them I don't know if we'll get to all of these or not. 2014 Chevrolet Cruze Eco. That car gets 42 miles to the gallon, hit the market in the 2011 model year, and I can attest, I've driven some of those cars, they will do that kind of mileage. So there's one for you, 2014 Cruze Eco. The 2014 Sonic Turbo, another car that I've driven, and it will get 40 miles to the gallon, runs pretty well, fairly small car, but actually works really well. Another car, 2014 Dodge Dart Aero. It'll do also 40 miles to the gallon, and it competes with that Chevy Cruze. And, of course, the Dart was totally redone, I think, in 2013 or 12, I want to say. And that's a 1.4-liter engine. And that car actually, by the way, that car works really, really well. That's a Fiat car. That car was not designed here in America. That is that's a worldwide platform, the Dart is, and it works very well. The 2014 Fiat 500, that's another 40 mile per gallon in the highway. It's a 40 mile an hour highway club car is what they're trying to say. So and that car works well too. A little more fun car to drive than some of the others. 2014 Ford Fiesta SE. And the SE with EcoBoost, both of those will do 40 miles to the gallon plus. 2014 Ford Focus SFE. Now we're going to get into some Asian cars. Those have all been American cars up to this point with the exception of the Fiat 500. Right. 2014 Honda Civic HF. That also does 40 miles to the gallon, 35 around town. The 2014 Mazda 3, which I drove, there's a review of on our website. You can see that. That's a fantastic car, by the way. Works out well. That car will get 41 miles to the gallon on the highway. And actually, Mazda, they build that car with just some fantastic upgrades for the money. Not only does that car get great mileage, it really competes well in its market as far as price. Here's a bigger car, which is a surprise, a 2014 Mazda 6, which is a pretty good, that's a mid-sized sedan, they consider that. And it's the Mazda 6 with E-Loop, they call it. And that has the ability to turn the engine off at stoplights and do some different things. But it's called, the IE-Loop stands for Intelligent Energy Loop. And they do some different things with braking. They've got a supercapacitor on the car itself, engine stop-start system, etc. But they're doing some really great things without having a hybrid or the hybrid price in a Mazda 6 sedan, still getting 40 miles to the gallon, which is pretty cool. 2014 Mitsubishi Mirage. That one will do 40 miles to the gallon. 2014 Nissan Sentra. That one is a given. The Nissan Versa follows it right up, and that one I've mentioned many times to people to buy. The 2014 Toyota Corolla LE Eco. Again, that competes with the Cruze and the Mazda and a lot of the cars that are in that segment. And by the way, the Corolla is a nice car, works well. I did a full review, by the way, on that LE car on our website also, so you can check that out. We've actually got a video review on that. So there are a lot of cars that will get 40 miles to the gallon. Actually, pretty large selection of 40 mile to the gallon plus cars that you don't have to go out and pay the money for a hybrid, which, you know, what I mean by that is there's a lot of these cars on this list that you can buy in the high teens or low 20s and get 40 miles to the gallon, where most hybrids, even a Prius is 30 grand.
Right.
So you're almost $10,000 less money, still have the mileage that a hybrid or close to what a hybrid will get, but for a lot less money. And not having the batteries and the other things to worry about. So, food for thought. 15 minutes of the show left. Actually, we get back from the break a little less than that. Call us. Let us know your thoughts. Whatever you want to add. Father's Day's tomorrow. Gift ideas. You name it. Throw it at us. We'll get you right on air before the end of the show. 303-477-5600. I'm your host, John Rush. You're on Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
Napa know-how! You like car stuff. Napa has car stuff, like fuel stuff, brake stuff, even cleaning stuff. And the only thing better than car stuff is car stuff that's half off. So stock up on your car stuff with half off selected stuff. Conquer the job. That's Napa know-how. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/14.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
I'm going to teach you right now how to find a good, honest mechanic. Ask about the warranty. Their warranty will tell you everything you need to know because their warranty is their word. And Colorado Select Auto Care Centers all offer the best warranty in the state. 3 years, 36,000 miles on every repair. Always select a Colorado Select Auto Care Center at coloradoselect.org. 3 years, 36,000 miles. That's all you need to know.
Here we go again. Good music Matt's playing for us. So last segment, Drive Radio. I've been your host, John Rush, along with Ray Seidel. and Alan Stefan. So Larry's getting some callers lined up, 303-477-5600. Still have a line open. Call us. We'll get you right on air. Jerry is next. Jerry, welcome. What's going on today?
Fine. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks for calling us.
Happy Father's Day.
Hey, thank you very much. Same to you.
Question, my wife's looking to buy either a Toyota Highlander or a Subaru Tribeca. What's the...
Highlander.
Really?
Sorry, and I like Subaru really well, but the new Highlander and the improvements that they've made to it, the overall redesign they did with it, if you went and got in both cars, now, they are not the same car. I'll make sure I state that. The Subaru, when it comes to, you know, their all-wheel drive, their symmetrical all-wheel drive, the way they've designed the engine, the way the vehicle works off-road, the snowy conditions, etc. I mean, if you're gonna, you know, if you lived up in the mountains, had a long dirt road, you know, slippery conditions, did that all winter long, I'd probably steer you more towards the Subaru. If you're driving in town, need the all-wheel drive of the Highlander, you know, or even the front-wheel drive of it, you know, periodically because of a snowy day, you know what, you'd get along just fine, and then I would steer you more towards the Highlander. My point was, if you if you went out and got in both cars, went and drove them, you'd know what I'm talking about on the Highlander versus the Tribeca.
Yeah, she's just trying to look for the third-row seating for the younger grandkids.
Yep.
So that's...
And the Highlander works, you know, I've got a full video review on our website, on our YouTube channel also. We went through that. I think I spent the most time on that car I've spent on anything we reviewed so far. I had to even cut some things out because there's so many great features that car has. It's just one of those cars where you get in it, you sit in it, you start driving it, and it's just like, man, they really have everything in the right place, and it just works really well. You can't say that. I mean, and I'm not saying there's a lot of bad cars on the road, because in today's world, it's tough to pick what to drive because most everything is really, really solid. But that car, they just overall did a great job building it.
Okay, and if I may, the new Dodge or the new Ford pickup, you know, gas.
Yeah.
Which one would you look?
Well, and I hesitate to say this because I hate to try to steer people in a direction that is because of my own opinions, but I won't buy a Ford right now as a fleet operator. I just tell you that right now, just because of quality issues on some of the diesel products they've got, how I can get things fixed at the dealer level, on and on. I can go down the list, and that's just why me personally right now in my fleet I won't buy a new Ford.
Okay. As far as the half tons or anything, you know, what have you heard, good or bad, or? You know, I keep hearing about that new Eco Diesel by Dodge.
It's a great truck. I'd like to drive that truck. I had that truck this is a great story, by the way. I had that truck for 2 days, drove it down here to the studio, and on my way back, I had the DEF light was on for the fluid that you have to add on the new diesels. And I thought, well, that's kind of strange. And so, as a fleet operator, I had some of my own because we got some other trucks, etc. So I went ahead and added some to it, etc., and the light just would not go off. So the more I investigated, I figured out, gosh, there's got to be some sort of a, contamination issue or something going on here. So I call up the folks that I get the car from, tell them what's going on, etc. They pick it up. I actually got a call back from Chrysler, believe it or not, earlier this week, and they actually told me that evidently one of the people that had the truck before me, one of the press guys that had the truck before me, somehow, some way, somebody put diesel into the DEF tank and it contaminated everything. So what I will tell you is that's not the truck's fault. That was some knucklehead put the wrong stuff in the wrong tank, and I don't even know how you'd even do that because it doesn't even, the nozzle doesn't even fit. So how that happened, I have no idea. What I will tell you is for the 2 days I had to drive it, I thoroughly enjoyed it, with one exception. The mileage was not what I thought it should be, but I think that's because the DEF system was messed up. They've assured me as soon as that truck gets fixed, they're either going to get that truck or another truck into my hands where I can drive it, review it, and give you guys all a report back on it, because supposedly that truck will do 27, 28 out on the road.
When you were driving it, what kind of mileage?
22 to 23, but again, I think what was happening is because of the diesel fuel being in the DEF additive, it had everything messed up, and I don't think it was reading anything correctly coming out the exhaust, thereby not managing the fuel correctly.
And did it have all that air suspension?
It did, and it works fantastic.
Oh, okay.
It really does. It levels the truck up when you're in town, when you're going down the road. It lowers it down for better aerodynamics. If you put a load on the back, it'll automatically level the load. It's pretty slick.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, and Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to you. And Jerry, when I get that truck back, watch for it. I'll talk about it here on air, but I'll get a full review, put it up on YouTube. You'll be able to see it and all of that, but I like that truck a lot so far.
All right, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for calling in. And sorry, Ford, I hate to beat you guys up on stuff, but when you know what? When you can't get my diesels fixed that are supposed to have 100,000-mile warranties on them and you won't honor that, I have a hard time buying another Ford. Sorry, there I said it, guys.
Service is the name of the game. That's what we're in.
You won't service a fleet truck, and I'm on the air, and you want me to go talk about buying a Ford. I'm sorry. When I can't buy one myself, why would I tell my listeners to go buy one?
Your personal experience, so I agree.
Well, sorry. Just the way it is.
It's our own opinions.
Well, and I'm trying not to taint that because I know that probably isn't for every Ford that's on the road. But you know what? I own several, and it seems like every time I have a problem and I need to do something dealer level wise, it's just a runaround. I just can't get the thing in and out and handled. And here I have a press vehicle. I send it off. I get a personal phone call back from Chrysler with the addition of, hey, I know you also own a lot of other Dodges. If anything ever comes up, here's my number. Call me. We'll take care of it, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, what do you think I'm going to buy next?
Well, see, now I don't feel so bad plugging our turbocharge hose for Ford trucks,
plug them.
and you don't have to go back to Ford for them.
No, plug it all day long.
I got it.
Well, and those of you listening, I'll just throw this out real quick. I have become a believer that I do not care for 6-liter Fords a lot when it's on the diesel side of the fence. I care less for the 6.4s, which are actually later than the 6-liters. So I would buy a 6-liter before I'd buy a 6.4 right now, just knowing what I know about the two engines.
How are the belts to change on that particular truck?
Oh, you don't want to know. Yeah, you already know.
I already know.
It is a pain in the neck. So anyways, as a side note, getting back to some of Alan's stuff, you also we never got a chance to really talk about it today. Tensioners, when you're doing belts, when you're changing belts, and one thing we should mention, I do this a lot, but probably not enough. Those of you that are do-it-yourselfers or even just looking under the hood trying to figure out what does a vehicle need, or the belt's bad, or the hose is bad, etc., you can no longer look at a modern belt and say, well, it's starting to crack, let's change it.
Right.
Because that doesn't work that way anymore, does it?
No, and that's why we developed the gauge, but we also have it on the app now. I don't know, for some of the younger folks, they might want to use their iPhone app. Or
and they've actually...
You used it, Larry, at the shop?
We have, and it works great, yes.
Okay. What's response time? So I get...
Quick. It's not bad.
30 seconds?
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
With the newer iPhones with the better cameras.
With the better camera.
And the app, they upgraded the app. It's a lot better.
Yeah, so real quick, let me fill that in. We're running out of time. Gates has an app, so for some of you guys that want to check some of your own stuff out, you basically take your phone, I'm showing this to the camera, you take a picture of the belt, and the app will tell you what the wear condition of the belt actually is through the app. Pretty slick.
Yeah, and like John said, we're not noticing the cracks because the rubber compound's different, so they don't crack, so they're getting misdiagnosed, so they're getting neglected. Oh, the belt looks good, it's not cracked, and well, it could be still, or it probably is still worn.
Well, and what I try to tell people is, and we did this the other day on another show I was on here, I think on one of the Haystack shows, think of your tennis shoes or your shoes. The bottom of your soles are wearing off all day long as you walk. Well, your belt on your car, your serpentine belt, is doing exactly the same thing. It's not just
wears over time.
That's exactly right. So it's wearing some of that rubber off the top, and to Alan's point, they just don't crack like they used to. So you can no longer look at a belt and say, oh, there's 4 cracks per inch, let's get it changed. No, that's not good enough anymore. You can't look at it that way.
And it actually wears in the grooves.
That's right.
So, I mean, it goes down out of sight, and then it'll start slipping or breaking down.
So
they'll set codes.
It's more of an exact science now than it used to be. So no longer can you just glance down, look at it, say, hey, I need to change the belt. So all this goes back to, about a minute left, preventative maintenance, making sure your vehicle's set. As you go into the summer months now, please make sure you're checking hoses, belts. Those are easy things to change prior to a trip that can get very expensive on the trip if you have a problem. So last thing you want to do is have a bad serpentine belt, out in the middle of Kansas someplace, hot day, 110 on the pavement, and now the belt's bad. That's a nightmare. All over a $60, $50 belt. That's literally what we're talking about here. So at the end of the day, do your maintenance, make sure things are handled right, and you won't have any issues, and that's the best way to do it. So, guys, with that, we got to get out of here. Alan Stefan from Napa, belts, hoses, Gates, etc. Happy Father's Day to you, too. Appreciate it. Ray Seidel,
been a great
4
show.
seasons,
Thanks.
A lot of fun. Enjoy it. Go out and see Ray. He's over in the Lakewood area. Give him your number real quick, Ray.
303-986-5202.
Larry Unger on the other side of the glass from Larry's Automotive. You can also check him out. They're over in the Westminster area. And Matt, our engineer, thanks so much. And I will see Matt on Monday. And again, as I talked earlier, we got a special show coming up Monday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Rush to Reason. I've got a guy that's developed an item, an attachment that goes onto your smartphone that will keep the NSA from hearing your phone conversations, which, by the way, is a big, big deal. Privacy is a huge concern. Check it out. And you also go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Drive Radio. Check out our website, drive-radio.com, and our YouTube channel, Drive Radio. Guys, we'll be back next week. God bless everybody. Have a great week. Happy Father's Day. Happy Flag Day. Enjoy. Get out and enjoy the sunshine, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Drive Radio, your host, John Rush, KLZ 560, The Source.
Presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers, the independently owned and operated